What? Huh? What? What? Well, we were supposed to have Michael Chan here, but hey, welcome to welcome to the React podcast, I should say. Welcome to React podcast. I am. If you're gone, I'm taking it. All right, that's what we're doing. Michael Chan is gone. I am the new host of React podcast. Welcome. I am here to answer all of your React questions. Welcome to Front End Horse Live. We've got Chantastic here. Michael, good to see you. How you doing?
What's up? Good to see you, friend. I'm glad to be here. So ready.
I think we had this booked for like a while now. Yeah. And it's been too long. We booked it out too far in advance because we've been like chatting and I'm just trying to let the chat know that we're friends, all right? I'm name dropping you right now. This is happening. This is a thing.
I like how you have to name drop me on your own stream.
Yeah. No, I was talking to Chantastic yesterday, and
oh man. Someone asked me the other day, like, what it's like to be famous, and I was like, I'm not. Like, what are you talking about?
That makes me want to
a weird feeling, doesn't it?
Just makes me want to like go back into my clothes, just like turtle shell. Like, oh, I don't like that. Unless that person's in our chat, then hey, buddy, like and subscribe, follow for notifications and stuff. And you are an honorary horse. Thank you for coming to the stream. Everyone here, hello. Hi. Ben, you are one of our favorite people. We were chatting about you behind the scenes. And Ben Myers, we absolutely just, you got a place in our hearts, buddy.
That's a good call out. When we're having our friendly conversations, just the two of us, as we have been doing for several months, we're regularly talking about Ben.
Yep.
That's really
in all the best ways.
What's happening.
Ben Myers is phenomenal.
Yeah. Just the best. We're talking about the best. We have a list of one best human, and it's Ben Myers.
It's Ben Myers. Tuna is right below him, though. Yeah,
the best human.
Yes, yeah. I mean, just I don't know who nominated Tuna for that category. Anyway, hi everyone. This is Front End Horse Live, where we learn about front end web development and creative web development. We have the fantastic Chantastic here. That's just really fun to say. I've been using that in all the promotions. It's just
fantastic.
It's so good. So for people who may not know you, would you mind giving the chat your brief bio?
Yes. Yeah. So, okay. So sorry, before we go into that real quick, I have not been sleeping. So this should be interesting.
I find it weird you give this bio to everyone. Every podcast you've been on that I've listened to, you start out with, my name is Michael. I have not been sleeping. It's memorable, but it's just, I don't know.
I know. Okay. So I'll do a slightly different one then. So my name is Michael. I don't know what I'm doing most days, actually. So I'm kind of in a state of flux. I have in the past hosted a really fun show called React Podcast, and I think it was awesome. I think it was one of the best tech shows on the internet. But I have taken a gap year just because, life is hard. And
after uni, that's what they do.
It's true. I'm taking my uni gap year right now, and I just. I think so when we're having our conversations as we do as friends over the past several months, one of the things we talk about is the challenges of kind of like being a creator, especially a regular creator, right? Like you're streaming twice a week, like this it's crazy. And you don't get a lot of opportunity for that, like self-reflection. I almost said self-play, but that's like a different thing. Like just kind of like exploring the industry. Like, React Conf happened yesterday, right? And like you probably won't get a chance to play with that stuff except for like, this, but like personally, that time where like you sit down, with you, it's just you and your thoughts and like playing around. Like you have my thoughts in your head today, and like that's not really healthy for anyone.
But they're better than my thoughts, so I'm okay with that. Yeah, I got superior thoughts today. That's why you're here. That's why I bring on half the people. Is my thoughts are kind of just. They're kind of basic. I want
like I want to take that and put it in here.
That's how books work. that's how a lot of our information transfer processes work. So yeah,
that is true. The more books I read, the more I realize they're all the same book, which is kind of like disappointing. It's like all the same. It's all the same thing over and over again, but like someone else's words. Which there's something interesting there, but I don't know. We won't cover that now. React Podcast is one of the things that I have done. I think that's probably, if my voice sounds familiar to you, then that is it. And then recently, part of my exploration, I've been doing this thing every year. I do this thing called React Holiday. That's going on right now. It's react.holiday. You can join and you'll learn actually a lot of the things that we're going to cover today, but in significantly more depth. Well, I haven't seen those emoji like, why are those emoji looking like that? That is so weird. I kind of like it, but it's weird.
Windows, my friend. It's always fun for Mac users to see what their stuff looks like on Windows
That's
because
fascinating.
it's a wide world of like horizontal scroll bars and ugly emojis. It's not great. But yeah, I can always tell this. I didn't. It didn't like I'm not like he's never tested on Windows, but I can tell when a certain website has only been viewed by the designer or the developer on Mac because there's like 1,000 horizontal scroll bars that they wouldn't. That's like an easy CSS fix, but they're oblivious to it. So anyway, yes, that is why. But yes, please sign up for this. It's phenomenal. It's going on right now. Drop your email in there. You've been doing a great
It's super
job with
fun,
this.
and this is one of the reasons I haven't been sleeping because I'm doing my work and then I'm writing this every night and then whatnot. So yeah, if you sign up, you're gonna get all the emails. It's on kind of it's on a sequence. I don't know, whatever the like email marketing people call a thing that is just pre-recorded emails that go
If you
out
sign up
every day.
today, you'll get the first issue. If you sign up tomorrow,
Yes.
you'll get the first issue. It's always like it's going to come in order.
Yeah, so you'll get all of it no matter what, which I think a lot of people like because they have all the information instead of just like shoot, like now we're like so deep and I didn't catch the other stuff.
Right.
But yeah, I I almost made a joke from a pre-live context, and when we were talking as friends, making our inside jokes together.
Yeah, when we were doing our secret handshake before, and when I handed you the friendship bracelet I made for you. Yeah, I remember those jokes. This is just gonna be one big inside joke. I'm so sorry to everyone who's here. All right, so you are doing so yeah. People know you from React podcasts. Right now, you're doing React Holiday, something you do every year. You also are at Chromatic right now.
Yes, yeah. So right now I'm at Chromatic. Chromatic is the company that maintains Storybook. So really cool stuff happening there. Storybook, so before I joined Chromatic, I was doing a lot of design systems work. And particularly design system work that appealed to like a number of frameworks. So it was really fun work. I was really like fascinated by the challenge of trying to create stuff that worked universally everywhere. Um, and yeah, so that was really fun, and I ended up using Storybook a lot, and I totally fell in love with Chromatic, which is I'm going to tell you this as a fan, not someone who works there
I
right
do the
now.
same thing, yeah.
I really fell in love with this tool because Storybook is really interesting and it's developing quite a lot, especially right now. But there's kind of this feeling of like, oh, like this is where I design my components, and then they kind of like sit there like as documentation or like to view all together or whatnot, or pick from like a catalog and whatnot. And like that's cool. That's very cool. There's a place for that. But like Chromatic is this really fascinating unlock where it's like now like so really easy, you integrate Storybook and Chromatic, and now Chromatic um is basically visual regression testing all of your components like on every pull request, however you want to set it up, like pull request or merge or like whatever. And you can like integrate it into your CI and be like, oh hey, you changed this thing and that actually changed these other components. And was that intended? Was it not intended? There's a whole review system in there. Like it's really amazing in kind of connecting the dots between UI review and like stakeholders and all that stuff. Super big fan, and so I was looking for something new, and they reached out. So it's been a lot of fun. I've been really enjoying kind of supporting the efforts of the team there, and yeah, really good stuff. Really killer product. Even if I didn't work there, I would say that if you're building a design system, component library, all that stuff, you should be be using it.
Awesome. Yeah, Storybook is phenomenal. I haven't got a chance to check out Chromatic yet. Maybe that's a future stream that we have to do. But I
Yeah.
can definitely say
Oh,
that
heck yeah.
Storybook is phenomenal. I would love to learn like your best practices around Storybook because I think it's a really powerful tool. But also, I think it's one of those tools where you can really get good with it, and like there's a big difference between like my Storybook libraries that I've had and like I go and see like IBM's or Airbnb's
Yeah,
and I'm like,
right.
oh, okay. Like I'm like, that's how you're okay, I got it. All right, so I'm not so yeah, like learning your best practices there would be awesome. But today,
Yeah.
now that we've done the Chan, I'm tired bio intro. the classic intro.
Yeah.
What are we getting into today? Because I was watching React conference yesterday. I'm always like, what am I getting into? I was watching React Conf yesterday, and there was a lot of talk about React 18, which is
Yeah.
right now in beta. Is that correct?
There's a release candidate actually. Yeah. So yesterday they announced a release candidate, which is
Got it. I
really,
missed
really
that.
interesting.
Okay.
Yeah. So today what we're going to talk about is so my goal. Okay. So there's couple things, right? My goal in React Holiday and then today is that Santa Claus. This is the most egregious profile I have ever made. It's I
It's over the top. I almost uninvited you. Yeah. No, it's it's great. I just dropped the link in chat. Sorry, I don't mean to distract.
I haven't touched the banner thing ever, I don't think. And I was like, you know what? I am
Let's go
going
for it.
for it
Let's go for it.
this Christmas. I am about the nonsense. Um so yeah, so my goal for today is that when we're done, that you would have a really comprehensive idea of how to get your app from React 17 to React 18.
Cool.
Now, there's like the demo version of that, which is like do these 2 steps and there's no step 3. And I think that is probably fair for the most part.
Okay.
However, I also think that people are going to run into some issues, and so this should, I think, if we do everything right today, we should be able to come across all of those issues.
Okay.
And anyone who's migrating should have like be an expert by the end of it.
Awesome.
And then if you want the emails, with the text version, you go to React.holiday, and then you'll for sure be an expert and get anything that we didn't cover today.
Love it.
And then if we have extra time, we may play with some of the suspense stuff. That is definitely like kind of the road goes from like paved to like pretty rocky, like pretty quick. There's just like a line. And so if we get there, it'll be an exciting time for us to, hang out.
Sounds good.
And learn stuff together.
Awesome. So if chat brought their ATVs and if we get through it quick enough, we can go off road in a little bit.
Heck yeah.
So we'll try to get there. Lucy, great to see you. Ed, great to see you. Ed says React 18 must be really close then.
Yeah, so that's really I'm trying to so I've been part of the React working group like for officially since they started it.
Cool.
But I've had the privilege of being able to be a part of a lot of like previews of things like hooks and early suspense before they were announced, and it's been a really incredible privilege to kind of be a sounding board for some of these features. Now I'm not a particularly good sounding board because I'm kind of just like an amplifier. Like I'm just
great
all
to
hype.
me, buddy. You sound great to me. It's all good.
Just all hype, and I'm like, yes, that's awesome. I love everything about it. There were actually a couple things in suspense that I really hated, and those things have changed. So
Okay.
I don't know. That's
Awesome.
good. But yeah, so the versioning of this is really fascinating, and I think that's definitely worth talking about. So React 18. Do you remember React 16? Were you programming React around like the React 16 time?
Yes. Is that so? Yes, but I don't have like a great mental model of like the differences between 16 and 15 or anything. So
Yeah, okay.
go on.
So React 16 was really fascinating, and I'm imagining that React 18 is going to be really similar. The
Okay.
versions are odd, right? Because you have like 17 was just one breaking change. It changed
Right.
the way that like events bubble up or something like
Right.
that. So it's like you have you have a massive 16 that includes features like everything from fragments to a whole new under the hood rendering system to
Okay.
hooks, right? Like so hooks is like not even like a major version. It was like it came out in like 16.4 or something like that. So
Right.
like
Yeah. That
halfway
was
through that life
weird.
cycle, the whole paradigm of how you program React absolutely shifted. So it's a really like React 16 was like a major like an expansive release for like a lot of had a lot of really like profound point releases.
Right.
And I suspect that React 18 is going to be really similar. So
Okay.
there's a lot of features that are shipping today. I think a lot of them are, a lot of things we'll talk about today in terms of like how to migrate to a React 18 app, like what the like bare minimum for like shifting over is.
Okay.
But then there's also like, we hear a lot about like features. We heard a lot of features yesterday at the conference, and I think that those are going to get rolled out in like like over the next handful of years.
Okay.
So like I suspect that 18 is going to be like a really big release, and
They're
so if
they're
you're
gonna
following
stretch
with
it out. It's gonna be like the last
yeah,
Harry Potter book. They're gonna turn into like 2 movies. It's just gonna be a thing. Okay, I get what you're saying.
totally, yeah, that's a great analogy. Yeah, it's yeah, one book, two movies.
Yeah.
Um, and so I think that that's like that's something to keep in mind. Like when you're thinking about
Okay.
React 18, there's a lot of things being discussed, and a lot of that's going to be rolled out over time. I'm thinking about it in terms of like steps, things that we can do today, things that we have access
Okay.
to today, what we need to know about this release candidate and what it unlocks for us, and that's yeah, and then like kind of the future will bring some other cool stuff that we're talking about, but those will probably be in like 16.1 to different versions along the way.
Got it. All right.
Yeah, so that's yeah, that's kind of the thing. Any- yeah, should we dive in?
Yeah, I'm ready. So you prepared something
Okay,
for us, and also
I did.
I'm not sure, Ben. I'm not sure if we let the two discords know, because one thing we didn't talk about is that we both kind of share
Oh
like
yeah.
a solid Venn diagram of overlap of discords, but we both have Discord servers or are part of Discord communities that are just lovely because of the people that are in them. Ben, especially. So Ben, if you wouldn't mind letting those places know if they're not
Yes,
already, I don't know,
we set up what
auto
is it?
thing.
A Discord
Got
event. And so
for
I think
this.
it's happening now. And so it'll just click
Cool.
to you click it and and you'll get there.
Just wanted to make sure that people weren't like, bah, because I always feel bad when it's like we missed it. I'm like, I didn't want to bother you, but also you wanted to know about it. So I cloned down this repo that you put together,
Yes.
and I can drop this in the chat so you can
Cool.
play along at home if you would like to.
Yeah. 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 And it's not, it is not perfect. So having us together is going to help kind of like iron out some of
Cool.
the introductions and whatnot. Um, I say that as if there are introductions in there. So one of the first things I want to talk about, first and foremost, is so right now we're looking at our package JSON and we see version 17
Right.
for React. So React and React DOM are 17.0.2, which is the latest stable release. And we're gonna update that, but I want to talk about versions first. So could we go to npm for the React package? Boom.
Okay.
Okay, cool. So
Versions.
you can always go to the versions tab is
Cool.
where we're gonna go. And so something to know for any npm package is that you can, so these are all controlled by the author, but they can set up like various tag aliases for versions. And so this is so you don't have to like remember like a specific version. You can just get them by their tag alias. So if you look, on the left of that column, you see version. and it has like, like the 18 versions are like kind of, they have some like wild hash at the end of them or whatnot.
Right.
Um, and so you can access those by their tag on the right. So latest is something that we end up using a lot, because that's like the latest stable version.
Okay.
But React actually has a bunch of additional versions that they publish as well. And I think that as you start this migration, it's going to be important to know like kind of the how these serve you. So the most permissive of these is next. So next is kind of the like, I don't care what stage it's in. I just
Okay.
want like
Give me
the
that
kind of like
hot stuff, that new stuff. I'm
yeah.
I'm living on the edge. I want the package with the most drip. I don't care about stability.
All drip all the
Yeah,
time.
I'm just trying to
Yeah,
reach out to the
exactly.
youth right now. Is really what this.
Youths, are you here? Are you
Yep.
here,
Oh,
youth?
they'll be here any minute. Don't worry about
Want some sneakers? Hey kid, want some sneakers?
it. This package has some drip. All right, cool.
Ooh,
So
drippy package.
next is a very risky one to grab. Is kind of what you're saying. It's
Yeah, super
the newest
risky
features.
because you're
Got
gonna
it.
have it's gonna be everything from from beta to, in this case you're saying it's the RC, but that could also be alphas.
Got it.
And so those are like not really a lot of promises about like what's gonna stick around or not stick around in alphas. Um, so but then you also have two additional tags, right? So it's a little bit confusing right now because right now there's a beta and an RC. So
Mm-hmm.
in this case, we really want to update to the RC.
Okay.
So the release candidate is like the most stable of these versions. It's going to be like, we think that this is the version that's going to be 18, unless there's some, unless you start to use it and there's some big breakage that we didn't
Cool.
anticipate.
Okay.
Like this is going to be it. Now, theoretically we're going to get to somewhere around like, I don't know, 4, 5, 6, 7, like whatever. There's going to be some like minor changes, but like this is the API that they want to release,
Okay.
unless there's like something super problematic. Experimental is just the wild west. Like there's some just wild nonsense happening in there. Like I wouldn't use it. I did teach a course on it one time and I kind of regret it because it like
Too
everything
much
changed.
drip. Way
Too
too
much
much
drip.
drip.
Yeah. It's a fire hose of drip
Oh man,
in
that's too much.
experimental.
Oh
So yeah,
man.
so that's the so those are the
Awesome.
versions. As of today, you can install the release candidate, which is going to be the most stable. I anticipate, like if I were a betting person, I would anticipate that nothing that we're going to cover today is going to change.
Awesome.
It's going to be APIs, for library authors, things like we learned yesterday about, was it use sync external store,
Mm.
some hook like that that's used for uh, libraries like Redux and Apollo and whatnot. Those might change like slightly, but for the stuff that we're covering today, like it's very likely that you could use release candidate today and then not have to change anything by React 18. So
Awesome.
let's install that.
Cool. All right. And over here, we're using npm. No, we're using yarn.
Yeah,
We've got both.
I think. Oh, we got. Oh, shoot. Can you run Yarn on a Windows machine? I've never. This is the first time I've ever coded on a Windows machine.
I can only run PowerShell. Nothing else works. Yeah. I can run anything on it. I
It's
just
amazing.
can Windows like. Does it have Photoshop? Is there? What can you do on Windows?
This is. I'm so like I'm. Like that
It's
was
all
probably
good.
like the cultiest question I've ever asked. It's
Totally
like,
fine. It's
you
all
can
good.
do web
Whoops.
development
Didn't mean to do that.
on a machine without an Apple on the top of it? I don't understand.
So which one would you like us to run?
Oh, yeah. So let's do. So we'll do yarn add, I guess, since we have yarn. So yarn
Cool.
add, React at RC, and we'll do React DOM at RC as well.
Oh, sorry, Shay. Here you go.
All good, all good. So we do want to do these in tandem, right? So we want to have the same version for both of these,
Cool.
or else we're gonna have some probs.
Makes sense. And yeah, Wingmat says, "How are you coding something besides .NET?" But Aaron does raise a good point. I can't run Sketch, so that is one argument for or one of many arguments for Figma. Just
Oh,
Sketch is a Mac exclusive, and it's like, all right, cool. That's why a whole bunch of different companies popped up around Sketch, like InVision and those other ones,
yeah,
because
yeah.
you needed a way to hand Sketch docs off to developers on Windows. So I mean, and InVision has other features too, but it's just like that's a pretty big shortcoming. So yeah,
It is wild, right? Like,
Figma's nice.
do you feel like Sketch had no idea how popular it was going to be? Like, it kind of felt like, oh yeah, we're making a cool Mac thing, and then it's like, oh damn, like
It's like,
people actually want to use this thing that's like not quite an illustration tool, not quite like a UI, like a user experience tool. Like, yeah,
yeah,
why did that happen?
I can kind of, yeah, it does sort of feel like, now that I'm looking at it, like where they're like, oh shoot guys, I think we just like defined an industry. What do we do now? Like, we weren't really ready for this. I only know Swift. uh
Our bad, everybody. Our
Oops.
bad.
Yeah. To people out there working on Sketch, you keep it up. I don't mean to knock you down. You're doing great. It is a solid tool. I just always preferred Figma, but whatever. It's preferences. But yeah, actually, Windows
I
Dev,
mean, what
always
a
salty about Sketch. It looks so good. I think that
what a
Figma is better.
boost they gave Figma though, right? Like they just oomped it to Figma right there.
Yeah, I just kind of fumbled the ball and went, whoops. Yep, here you go. Here's a whole bunch of people who know how to use this tool now. Uh, all right, we are rocking with React 18. We've
Ooh,
got
look at
that
us. We got
installed.
the RC.
Yeah. All right. Today's
that's it,
topic
we're
is
done.
migrating to React 18. All right. Any questions in chat? Any questions? No. Okay, we're good. All right. So now do I want to run Yarn? Yarn
Yeah,
dev?
let's run yarn start, I think it is, maybe.
All right. Let's find out.
Yeah, so this is just a create React app, which is I like this because it kind of mirrors the environment that you're going to get in a code sandbox or some
Okay.
online environment.
Cool.
So that should pop. Maybe you have to go visit a dev server, localhost 3000, I think.
3000.
Why is
Okay.
it?
I don't know. Here we go. It's probably a
Oh,
Windows
there we
thing.
go.
There we go.
Okay, there we
Nice.
go. Took a second.
Oh,
Wow,
good.
it's struggling.
Yeah, interesting. I haven't updated browser list. I doubt that's why. I doubt that's the reason. Maybe it's just a first time thing. I don't
Yeah,
know. That's
maybe we
interesting.
should try re-yarning
I
everything.
just
Okay.
I hit refresh and that seemed to do it.
Oh, there was probably some, like service worker nonsense,
Yeah.
BS happening. I
All right.
hate those things. Those things just
Keep an eye
really.
out for service worker nonsense, people. Don't be afraid to refresh. Awesome.
Okay, so we got this, and this is, I mean, it's already a really stellar app. I think we've done well for ourselves with this, but we just, it's time to update it to React 18. So let's jump back into our code.
Cool. So we're going into source
And
folder, I'm assuming.
yeah. Okay, so this is actually kind of like a funky little project. So let me show you how to navigate this real quick.
Sounds
So
good.
one of the things that always kind of sucks about teaching this type of stuff is that you're changing the route, where your like application lives. So it's really hard to just have like a bunch of, like, the lessons are a little funky. So you actually have to point to a directory for the lessons so you
Okay.
can do all of the stuff you need to do. Anyway, so if you go to index, you'll see this is where we can change our lesson. So there's like, a bunch of lessons in there. If you're following along, you can jump to the solution by adding the path there. So we're on lesson 1, and we can probably just stay here the whole time if we want to. So let's open up the lesson 1 file. Okay, cool. So the first assignment that we want to do, we've already done. We just needed to change this from next to, sorry, I say next in these instructions, but that was before we had a release candidate. So we have a
Got
release
it.
candidate now. So at RC is the way to do it.
Cool.
So now what we need to do is we actually need to change the render function. And this is like the first time that I think since React 0.14 or something that the
Wow.
render function has changed at all. So basically since it was released, it hasn't really changed, except they put it in the React DOM package. So this is like a pretty big, this changes everything kind of like in a really impressive type of way. So we're going to change this just slightly. They've made this, instead of a single function with 2 arguments, it's now 2 functions. So it's like a
Okay.
2-stage process where we're going to create a root from the DOM element, and then we're going to render our application to that. So you can copy and paste, or copy that second argument out of it, the document.get element by ID.
Okay.
Yeah. And so you take that out, and then right before render, you're going to do between React DOM and render, we're going to like string another function in there.
Cool.
Chain another function on there. So this will be create root. So that's showing up in your, perfect.
Yep.
And then we're going to place our DOM element that we had there in there. Yeah. Cool. So we can save that. And that is how you do it. That's how you the first step in migrating from React 17 to React 18. Now let's jump back to the browser. And
Okay.
was that difficult, by the way? Did you feel like that was too much to handle?
I nailed it. I think I did really good.
I feel like you did. There was a little hesitation with the where to put create root, but it's your first time, so I think we made it through. So this is this is what it looks like. Now your instinct was absolutely right. So let's open up the dev tools and see what's going on here.
So it had an error before, and I just cleared it for some reason, but I should have kept
what
it.
Happened?
Right? I should have kept it.
It should have kept. What do we do?
I hit refresh because I wanted to, because my mind goes, get rid of the red. Don't have the red. Red bad.
You just keep hitting Command R or Control R. Sorry, Control R until the red goes away.
That's what fixes all of my problems.
Refresh driven development.
Use create root instead. Until you switch to the new API, your app will behave as if it's running React 17. Cool. So it's a little warning, but it's not like my app is still not breaking. So we're that's nice. Yeah.
So we're in this. Do you remember? Okay, so you're a PC user. Do you remember the what is it? Windows compatibility mode or Internet Explorer compatibility mode?
I've only been a PC user for a year now. I'm actually celebrating my anniversary in a few days. So
sweet. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Not enough people.
A lovely couple.
Yeah, thank you. So kind of, but not really.
Okay, cool. So Internet Explorer had this I think I can't remember which version it was, but I think it was somewhere like version 9 or whatever.
Okay.
Most of the web was written specifically to target Internet Explorer 7 at the time. And so even in the latest version of Internet Explorer, everything just looked ghastly. So they introduced they had this compatibility mode where you could click a button and then it would just basically render as if it was in version 7. So you use it for all intents and purposes. You were using Internet Explorer 7.
Wow.
Yeah. So just real gruesome. Now, a similar thing is happening here, but with I think a better intent because it's developer focused, not user focused. This ties into something that React's been working on, and was actually kind of proved by Ricky Hanlon. I think that I'm probably not saying his name right. That they could ship a version of React 18 that actually let you run 17, run your code base exactly as it was before.
Got it.
And slowly migrate features over, which I think is brilliant. I am obsessed and in love with this concept. So that's what you're seeing right here. And this error would not show up in production. It's only going to show up in the kind of developmental build. So super cool. So you have this. I guess you can click on that link if you want to, for anyone kind of following along at home to see what you get. If you click on that link, which is just a description of what we already kind of talked about.
Awesome. Thank you for the follow.
Yeah.
Awesome. Hey, there we go.
Hey, who's that guy?
Cool. All right. So it gives me a friendly warning, but as soon as I do the stuff that I did, which I can no longer
Oh,
Control
we
Z
lost
too.
it.
It's all good. But this is how I learn. I get muscle memory. I think it's create root.
That's right.
And then pop that in there. And let's see if that worked. And it won't yell at me. Control R. I got rid of my error because we're now using the officially or the React 18 way of injecting our app into the DOM. Awesome.
I love it. We did it. Congratulations.
Thank you.
For those following
All right.
along, congratulations. Golf claps for you.
Throw some confetti up. I don't think Chan's seen the confetti yet, so go
Oh, yeah, confetti. Where my
Go
confetti
ahead,
at?
chat. Go ahead.
We
They'll hit you
deserve
with it.
some.
This is big stuff. There you go. Thank
Oh,
you.
damn.
Thank you, Matt.
Can I say damn?
You.
I don't know.
We've said worse. Don't worry about it.
Okay, good.
Cool. All right, so we've got that. We've gone to create root. What do we do next,
Yeah.
or what's that?
Okay, cool. So something to know about this, and I think, and so since we're talking about that like gradual adoption strategy, something to know about this is that up to this point, there's been this talk about like a concurrent mode, right? And so you kind of have to like migrate your app to like get it, concurrent mode safe, and then you can put it into concurrent mode, and then it will, everything runs concurrently. Now, it would be easy to assume that this is now like we're rendering our app like in concurrent mode, right? And so it must be dangerous now because now like I don't know what changed under the hood.
Everything, and now all my stuff
Everything
needs to be
changed.
all my code in this code base now needs to be in React 18 code. Essentially,
Right.
is what I might think.
Yes, and that is absolutely not true. So there's a couple things that do change, but by and large, what we have here is going to render very similarly with a handful of exceptions, like some performance tweaks that we'll talk about. Very similarly, given all of the same APIs. So if you're using only v17 APIs, they're going to work almost identically. And it's not until you start to use the concurrent features, so like suspense and start transition, all that kind of stuff, that you would actually see that those sections of your page are going to start rendering with the new like concurrent rendering style.
Awesome.
So yeah, so just so good things. I mean, they did a really good job trying to make this thing smooth.
Cool.
So we did that. Let's go to our next step.
Awesome.
So one of the like powerful things that we have kind of available to us now is that we can actually render to hey, React confetti. I love it.
So good.
So one of the cool things that we can do is we can actually, so one of the strategies that you might employ to migrate different parts of your code is to render to multiple roots. And so let's open up our index file, or index.js. Sorry.
Down here?
I guess I need to specify. Or maybe it's a what's the template file? It's probably in
Worksheet?
public. Yeah, index.html right there.
Cool.
Yeah. So then let's go in there and let's add a second root. So all of this mounts on a single root at the moment. I think it's like ID root. Oh, we have a second one in there. I planned ahead apparently.
Cool. Okay, so typically we're injecting like here we're selecting specifically root to render app, but I don't know if I've ever done two roots in an app before. I don't know if that's just my inexperience, or is this a new thing, or?
Yeah, so typically you wouldn't have a lot of reason to do this. A lot of times what you'll have is like you might have like a root node, but then you might also have some kind of like portal, so if you're like a lot of times like people do like render modals into portals, which will like, so they can like be lower in the DOM, so they like show up over all the rest of the stuff, or whatever it is that you need to do. This is really just an illustration of like how you could tackle like part of your migration. So we have like root and root 2. These are very bad names, but we'll be able to.
Well, it's the second root. I mean, what else are you gonna name it? It makes sense to me.
You just keep adding. You add a number and then you increment it. That's the law of web development.
Yeah,
add a number.
I
increment it.
wrote about that in blog post 12, I think. So yeah, that's exactly right.
So yeah, so let's go back to our code, and we're gonna render. We're gonna do something kind of funky,
Okay.
but it will illustrate like kind of some power that we have. So
Okay.
let's now duplicate our React create root line, and you can actually kill the assignment because I'm gonna be like running through all this stuff anyway.
Uh,
And then let's change this
oh,
back to
that
our
cool.
the
Like
comment.
the assignment of what? Where am I assigning a thing to? Just yeah, got it.
Sorry, that was not clear on my part.
No, 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 no.
Um,
It's cool. Just usually it's like assign 5 to number, whatever. Anyway.
so let's change that second one to use the old render API. If you can kind
Okay.
of reverse it back to what it was.
Yeah. So hold on. If I can click properly. We're gonna go route 2, I assume.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So we're gonna use the old render API for route 2 and then the current API for route 1. We're rendering the same component.
Okay.
But this is just an illustration that we could put both of these on the same page. So let's do that one real quick. We should see
All
two
right.
Reacts and the error.
Got it.
Now, where this is cool is that you could now you could effectively, if you needed to and had like the structure in place, you could actually render different parts of your site to like different nodes and
Got
then
it.
like kind of migrate parts of them as you wanted to opt into different features. So that's one of the
Awesome.
reasons that I showed this option or this technique. So that's like one of the first things. Like another cool thing is that, let's say that maybe you have like different pages, you can easily in the same app render using create root or using the old render API on a page by page basis as well. I just wanted to illustrate that you can go hog and use both renderers on the same page if you
Cool.
absolutely want to.
Awesome. All right, that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Cool. Now, let's so that's looking good. But I'm curious, have you ever used the render callback?
Render callback. I don't. Let's go with no because
Let's go with no. Okay.
I'll let you know after we go through this. Like, oh yeah, I've done
Okay.
that. Probably not.
Let's actually keep that last line.
Oh,
So
sorry, I'm getting ahead of you.
no. You're just so eager to get into the 18. You want that drip.
Get rid of this garbage.
It's just
Trash.
chasing that drip. So let's comment out the React the create root version just so we don't have any
Okay.
confusion
Cool.
for the moment. So React DOM render actually takes a third argument, and it's a callback function. So you can just hand it some like an anonymous function right now and say like console.log my React app rendered or something. Yeah, calling back.
That's what it does. So
Colin's back.
there we go. Colin's back.
I love how Nightbot is just hyping your event hard.
It's going a little hard, but at the same time, so is the event. So I'm good with it. I'm good with it. Honestly, go register, people. It's gonna be so good. Chad's gonna be there. Wait. Sorry, I'm pointing in the wrong direction. He's gonna be there, whichever direction he is. Yeah.
Can I show you something I got for the event?
Yep.
Look at this. So I'm talking about microphones or like work from home kit, like creator kit, all that kind of stuff. I figured you could probably use a break from the the coding and whatnot and just talk about consumerism. That's what I want to represent on this holiday thing, because that's what Christmas. That's the real reason for the season, if we're being honest. So I'm gonna be talking about microphones. I'm gonna be talking about interfaces and cameras and all that streaming gear, all that fun stuff. And so I bought this bag, Santa's bag. I got the one. It's on loan from Santa Claus. The man
that
himself.
one. Oh, so you can fit like infinite amount of things in there.
Yeah,
that's incredible.
Actually, I got my whole family in here the other day. It was really, it was a marvel.
You took them out.
We were having so much fun. Look at this really wild embroidery on this side.
So good. It's so good. And Kroybot, good to see you.
real special.
Yeah, so I'm so excited for it. Please, please, please register at the thing. I'm not usually one to like push things, like I'm not like subscribe, but for this, you putting your name there lets or helps me get sponsors to say like, oh, you have X number of people, sure, we'll sponsor. So I'm like, we're trying to raise a lot of money for a good cause, so please, please, please,
Yeah.
Register at that link and tell everyone, tell your friends, bring lots of people, because we're trying to hit $10,000 to clean the ocean. So yes, thank you for letting me get that little ad in. I really appreciate it.
Again, hype. That's what I'm about here.
Love it.
We gotta hype the thing. We got an ocean to clean. Let's do it. I ain't afraid
it's pretty
of it.
gross. Yeah, let's
Yeah,
do
it's
it.
pretty damn gross. Pretty damn gross.
Cool. So we're calling back.
Code
All right.
again? So we're calling back. So this is actually really nice. You can, I mean, I actually I haven't actually, I don't know why this exists really. I haven't actually used it per se. I think I've
Okay.
experimented with it, but it's not like a wildly used API. However, it's worth noting that it goes away. So this is
Okay.
no longer
Wow.
exists in this way. So I want to show you a couple strategies for how we actually kind of work around it.
Okay.
Because there are some recommendations, and so if you do use this feature, this is something that you'll need a strategy for working around it. So we can comment this one out and then kind of enable the 18 version again. Cool.
Okay.
So one of the easiest things is just after, and my understanding about this is that I think it's because like React DOM render or whatever is synchronous. So on the next line, you can leave that colon. You keep deleting stuff that we need. I love it.
Want backups? I mean,
Absolutely.
we don't need the colon, do we?
No, we don't need it. Actually, yeah. So just take it off because it's ugly.
Bring it back.
Reprehensible
slash.
semicolons.
Cool. So here I can do my callback essentially.
Yeah. So you can do a set timeout. You can do like some kind of like some asynchronous function. If you are not targeting Safari, you could do a, what's that called? Like request idle callback?
I don't know.
Something like that. I don't know. Quest animation something frame. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, wait. You can't do request animation frame in Safari?
You can't do request idle callback. I think you could do request.
Okay.
I think you can do.
I hope you can do request animation frame in
Yeah, I
Safari.
think you can
like
do wrap
so many
and,
things depend on that. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I'm just confusing the request, whatever they are. So,
Right.
okay, so and then my understanding is that because I think this like render method is like synchronous, so basically you can just like put it below that, and it's effectively doing the bare minimum version that we had before.
That's cool. Okay.
Yeah.
So basically once this I can be sure that this code is going to run once we've created the root and added my React app to the DOM, so I can then target whatever's there in this way.
Yes. Now, I'm not an expert in kind of like the timing of things, like whether or not you actually have an app flushed out to the DOM at this point. So if you want to guarantee, there's actually another method that we can do.
Oh, okay. Cool.
So let's do this. So we can, now this is a little bit more invasive. We have to actually change the application or the component that we're rendering itself. So let's when we're calling app in render, let's give it a callback.
In render here?
Yeah, so right there. Yeah, so we'll add a callback prop right there. So we're actually changing the component interface. So it's worth noting this is a fairly invasive way to do this.
Okay.
And then we can just kind of put whatever messaging we want there, the thing rendered.
Oh, botched my typing. I'm putting thing rendered.
Cool.
Red nerd.
Red nerd.
Red nerd.
Rudolph the red nerd reindeer.
It Orville Redenbachered is what it was. Callback. Right?
Yep.
We're getting that in there.
Perfect. Now we're gonna do kind of something a little funny. So we're gonna add the callback on our root element as a ref.
Okay.
So the ref equals callback.
Okay.
Perfect, just like that. Beautifully done. Beautifully done. And then if we save that, then we'll see that we have so it works, thing rendered. Now the cool thing about this approach, it is more invasive, but it actually comes with a guarantee that we're going to have an element. So in our callback, we can actually take the element as an argument in our function and log that out. So you could take the element and then do like comma, element dot tag name or something like that.
Is that camel?
Yeah, just like that.
Nice.
Cool.
And indeed it is.
Yeah. So
Cool.
this is a really cool approach if you actually need a guarantee, or if you're gonna do some nonsense after the fact, like after it rendered, you have access to that via these what are they called? I don't know, a ref prop or something like that. Ref callback. I don't.
Okay.
Heaven knows. I'm sure that it has some cool name that I'm just forgetting. But
Got it.
this is what it looks like in code.
Cool.
Yeah. Now there's a bunch of other solutions that you can do too. Like I did a stream the other day, and we just kind of our goal was to just like knock out as many ways as we could do this. We did it with with fragments and children and all kinds of nonsense. So all to say, you could, there's a lot of different options that you could use depending on your needs. Something that's going to be really frustrating about this approach is that any component that you render to render in this function, you're going to have to add this callback to. So a little bit irritating.
Wait, so if I have if there's multiple things here, or
no. So if you had, maybe if you built your own router or something like that.
Okay, got it. Yep.
And you were rendering different components, and you had a dynamic component that was being shoved into render.
Right.
You would have to have all of those be capable of taking or anything that you wanted this functionality for would have to be able to take a callback prop, right? So you'd have to change all of your root level components or whatnot.
Does not sound fun.
No, not super fun. Not at all.
But yeah, okay. So if I do need to use a callback at this top level, which I don't have a direct use case for, but maybe chat knows of some. I will have to use something like this because I can no longer put it as the third argument for the React DOM.render function.
Yeah, and I don't know exactly. I mean, maybe you have some kind of logging thing. Maybe you're putting some type of once you have layout, you want to add some type of class to the document that you didn't want there before. There's a handful of reasons that you might want this. They're kind of rare though in an app that's exclusively React. This is I imagine that this is probably more for handoffs and stuff. Maybe you have a Rails app and you need to coordinate when you actually have layout for your React component with the kind of larger page above it. Something like this might be handy.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't thinking that. That makes sense.
Yeah. And also something to consider is that one of the other things that you could do is you could create a wrapper exclusively for this, right? So you create a has layout component wrapper, and then you can wrap any components that you want inside of this has layout component.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Nice.
Cool.
Nice.
Yeah. Fun times. Any questions so far? Chat, we got any questions?
No, chat might, but I've got it. I just love seeing Ben Holmes code. I fit my whole family in there. Someone clip it. Please do. This baby could fit so many React roots in it. Slaps hood. Love it. Casually showing off a bag of holding on stream. So good.
OMG Chanta. Someone messaged me the other day and they were saying something, I think maybe in Spanish or something, that Chanta means lazy. I can't verify that, but I mean, I thought.
Wait. Did you literally not look it up?
I didn't look it up.
Oh, come on.
How are you going to?
No, that's lazy. How are you going to play into the name too much? So much. I could look. I'm not gonna bother.
Oh yeah, no, that sounds right. That sounds right.
Someone's like, yeah, your name that you're using means lazy. Does it? I could find
Okay.
out.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Oh
Sure.
man. Oh. So what is next for our tour through React 18 and
Yeah. So
the
what are
way
we
we're gonna
doing
live now?
next? Uh, how then shall we live?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see. So we covered a lot of this stuff. Cool. Let me open. I have this same repo open on my side. So,
Yeah.
um, okay. Now this is actually really handy, and I think that this is something that we're gonna like for sure. People are going to end up using
Okay.
on day one. So like perk up again because this is what we're we're gonna learn some stuff. Okay, so let's go. Okay, so we have this. Let's just for the sake of clarity, let's kill the callback stuff just so it doesn't
Yep.
feel. I mean, it's not
I
super
I
related
was
at this
itching
point.
to, but
Yeah,
I've been deleting
yeah.
stuff and it's been getting me into trouble. So I wanted to make sure that I had the blessing first before I started going boop boop boop. Cool. All right, we're looking good.
Cool. Now, one of the really cool things here is that we can conditionally render one or the other uh, we can conditionally use one of the renderers or the other. So I think this is going to be really popular if you want to do some kind of like staged rollout. So maybe you want to try this out in just a staging environment. Maybe you want to roll it out to 5% of your users and see how this works. So you can conditionally turn this on or off, which is one of the beauties of this strategy. So let's just add a condition around both of these render blocks.
So
Yeah, and yeah,
basically just an if then. That's
yeah,
awesome.
totally. And
Or
we'll
if
just do
else.
true works for now. I think you'd probably have some kind of, variable that inspects your, process ID or something like that, or a future flag loaded into your global environment.
So like if env equals to staging, right? So like
Yep.
obviously this would not be just a string defined here,
Yeah.
but it's this easy. It can just be behind a standard if block. It's not anything else. So that's the. Oh, where did that little semicolon come from? Adding semicolons everywhere now. All right, so that's the new one, but
Yep.
just changing that, and now we're back to the old
Perfect.
one. Very cool.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
I like that 5% bit that you mentioned. Like that's a really interesting concept of like, yeah, we can send it to just a few people, see if they have trouble, see if they're crashing,
yeah.
if the app's crashing there.
Yeah,
That's
I'd be
awesome.
curious, chat if you're doing that, like if you're doing any kind of like stage rollouts in your apps, and then also, if you are like what tools you're using for like stage rollouts, feature flags, all that kind of stuff. If you're doing that on the client or if you do it on the server, all that good stuff. Would love to know because I think that would be helpful for anyone who is maybe a little reticent to kind of jump on this right away
Right.
and looking for tools. So if you use one of those tools, let's shout them out.
Yeah, like what's the flag one? Launch darkly is what I'm thinking of.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
nice. I haven't used that one.
I've used, yeah. So stuff like that would be very interesting to see how that goes. Cool.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, uh let's go. um Okay, cool. So we got that. So now we have this. Now that we have this mechanism that we can like turn on or off the kind of like new React stuff. So what is it that what do we get from using React 18 just out of the box? Like that's the big question. Like what do we get? Kind of how does it make our life better, etc. So I want to talk about this thing that you might not know. I definitely didn't know it until I had to study up on how to teach this stuff,
Okay.
and it's kind of wild. So let's build up an example real quick. We're gonna start. We're gonna use state and yeah, we're gonna use a use hook state. So let's modify our app component.
Okay.
And we'll
So,
do two pieces of state. This is a little bit contrived, but you'll kind of see why in just a second. So we'll do like let or const Do you have a preference? You const
I
const
typically
guy?
const, but yeah,
Okay. Okay.
but
Cool.
not
Cool.
not
Cool.
not
I
die
won't hold it
hard.
against you. Yeah, let's use
Very
const.
very weak opinions. We're going let. I'm not gonna be judged here.
Are you using spaces or tabs right now too? I mean,
Just
while we're at it,
tabs for
let's.
everything. I tab in between each. Everything is a tab. No,
Oh, it's beautiful.
I alternate tabs and spaces. That's what it is. So every other thing is a tab or a space. So that's what I do. Keeps everyone happy.
Yeah,
Um,
it keeps everyone happy.
cool.
I
Let.
got an idea. So we're gonna do two use states. So why don't we do one of them let and one of them const? I think that would be the most ideal situation. So this
Diplomatic. Yeah.
first one, yeah, let's use let for the first one. And so this is gonna be count and then update count. Ben Holmes uses const. Big fan of const there. Okay, cool. And so then we're gonna use react.use state, and we'll just do like 1, I guess. Or actually, let's start with 0.
Okay.
Um, and so we're gonna build like a basic counter component. That's the direction that we're going. But then we also want to track a separate piece of state. For the sake of this example, I realize that it could be inferred. We're gonna use const for this one. Yeah, perfect, beautiful. This will be is odd. So, and then we'll do update is odd, and then we'll set this. I mean, technically 0 isn't odd or even, right? Like it's just 0.
I think 0 is even. That's my understanding of
I mean,
0.
for the sake of this example, it is, but also I think it's not even or odd, like in the
Chat.
abstract,
Chat. Let us know.
because it's a
Hot
non-number.
hot
It,
hot
it
takes.
represents nothing. How can nothing be even or odd?
Because it's 0. I don't know. I mean, like it represents nothing, but at the same time, I feel like I don't know. We could get into some stuff. Is
I mean,
odd
that's what this is for,
null? Is
right?
that? I mean, null is
No,
like.
let's just do false.
I don't know. Okay, false.
I just had to raise some hell. We got a let, we got a const right next to it. I just had to raise some hell on the is 0 is 0 even or odd.
Yeah, no, I like that. Here we go. Ben coming in with Britannica. Whole number. Okay, just give me. This is
I
literally
hate
a
like a
3,000.
recipe site. What the
Yeah,
hell?
0 divided by 2. Wait, tackle 0. Denounce 0 is not a number at all. Some quick arithmetic clears up the confusion surrounding the number. An even number at that. Yes, it is even.
Ah,
Love it.
come on. What is this site, Britannica?
Love it.
But which
Nicely
just
done,
some
Ben
fake
Hall. The
fake news
Bens
site.
the Bens came in with the same source. I love it. And Croybot says, since it sits between 2 and odd numbers, I guess it's even. Yeah, like that's always been my.
I mean, you can find a web page to validate any belief you have.
Except for your opinion, Michael. Did you notice that? How no one posted yours?
You know
It's
what? Give me
funny.
5 minutes.
That.
Give me 5 minutes. I'll have something. I'll have
you're
some
gonna
online.
publish, yeah. Netlify is building, and there it is. All right. All right. So we've got is odd false, and that's true then.
Damn
So now what do we want to do?
Okay, cool. Let's do. Okay, let's add a button now. And actually what am I thinking here? Yeah, let's add a button. Okay, on this button it'll be type button, and we'll have an on click and do something like handle click. We'll write the function later.
Unclick.
React.holiday/0 isn't even. What a great title. Ben, your ability to pull out the titles of
Yeah.
anything
Agreed.
is so exquisite. What a
Agreed.
gift.
All right.
Um,
Which should
okay, and then
it say?
inside, yeah, inside let's do we'll do count, and then do you want to use a tab or a space here? let's tab. Let's make it big and
Okay.
do it is odd dot toString. Okay, cool. And then right before our render function, let's console.count.
before our render function.
Or
Up
right
here?
before our return. I'm sorry, that was my
Got it.
bad. Right
No, it's
before
okay.
our return in our app. Yeah. We'll console.count.
.count.
Yeah. And then we'll do re-rendered. Or do you use a dash in re-rendered?
Wait, what's
Re-rendered,
happening?
right? Oh, it's like a console.log, except it's just going to count how many times
Cool. Okay.
it logged. Yeah.
I typically do that, but whatever.
Okay, cool. So now we need an update function. So this is where things get kind of interesting. So in parallel to our console.log, like on that level, we'll add our function for handling the state update.
Okay. Sorry, I got distracted by is zero an even number yet .club. That Holmes.
Yes.
Love it. Sorry.
You know I love me a good domain.
It's so yeah. Domains are easily. I mean, I based my entire personality around .horse. So yeah, I'm right there with you.
Okay, do you have a sleeper domain that you just like love, but like you just don't know what to do with?
I also own full stack and backend.horse. So I mean, those are just I'm just sitting on those for $30 a year. Don't tell my wife, please.
Can we pull up one of my favorites real quick, just
Okay.
for fun?
Yep,
Just for fun. I feel like we need a fun break. We've been talking about code too much.
Yeah,
Too much
it's
migration.
been minutes since we went to Britannica.com. What am I looking at?
This is my favorite worthless site. You can go to chansolo.com.
Chansolo.com. Nice. Nice. Well done. I need to publish just images to the other ones. I'll talk to Life about getting the back end of Nathan rendered for backend.horse and fullstack.horse just having a stack of horses. I just want fullstack.horse to be like one horse drops in and then like another horse drops on and then another horse drops on and it just goes. That's all it is. No, it's perfect. Chan Solo, so good. Oh, so good. It's horses all the way down. Yes. Love it. All right. So where was I putting handle click or whatever?
I don't even remember. We're so far off the rails. Like we already made it to the bumpy ground. I love it.
It's
I love
so
it.
good.
We knew it was going to be chaos.
And that's why we did it. That's why we did it. That's why we're here.
So let's create a function handler for this. So we'll do function and then handle click. And then in this, we're going to call our two state updaters.
Okay.
So we'll do update count, and we'll take count as an argument. We can just take it as C if we want to keep it terse. So we'll do C arrow function and then C +1.
Sorry. Update count.
Oh yeah. So we'll take so we're gonna give this a function.
Okay. Cool.
And so we're gonna take count as the previous count as an argument, and then return that count incremented by 1. Yep.
Cool.
Perfect. And then we're gonna do the same thing, but for isodd, and we'll do both of those in the same callback function.
Should I just do that?
Yeah, and then we can just do not isodd.
If I can type it. I love when the autocomplete thing blocks your entire.
Like I can't see what I'm typing.
Yeah. Here we're here to help. Awesome. Okay, cool.
Move over so we can do this for you. Man, all the Copilot stuff is nuts.
It's so good. I really.
Are you following that? Holy.
I turn it off for streams now, but yeah, I turn it on whenever I'm like, I need a recursive this and that made, and it's just like, yep, here you go. I'm like, thank you, and I turn it back off. It's fantastic.
Well, it's kind of embarrassing for streams, right? Because like if I knew what I was doing, my streams would be 10 minutes long.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yep.
Okay, let's tap this button a couple times and see what our count looks like.
So
okay,
that's is odd. So yes, true. Yeah. Yep.
Cool. So this matches reality, I think, right? Like every time you click the button, you expect one update, right?
You mean over here too?
Well, sorry, like, one re-render from the state updates.
Right.
Okay, so this is batching. Now I want to break this in a really like quick and surprising way.
Okay.
So let's go back to our code. And let's see. So inside of our handle click function, we're going to simulate an async event with a set timeout.
Okay.
Okay. Now, this is like you wouldn't necessarily have any reason to use a set timeout here, except for the purpose of illustration. Where you would actually see this is like with a fetch, right? So you might have a fetch, you might fetch data, and then as a result of getting that data, asynchronously update, like call use state with the new state, right?
Right.
So like this is just an example of something that you would do in a very different way, but operates the same way programmatically.
Cool. So
Okay.
should we try it again?
So yeah, let's try this again and see what happens. Oh wait, we might need to refresh.
I did.
I think you did.
Yeah.
Oh wait. Okay. So
I put a 0. Is that? I mean, that puts it at the end of the call stack, but does that matter?
Yeah. No, I ruined the surprise by not changing us to React 17 first.
That's
why
I scroll up to the top. I'm like, all right, it's probably going to be a difference here or something. All right, so we're going to not staging.
Yeah, anything but staging.
Environment. So I guess we're just gonna. So I'm gonna make this a bit more explicit. Just go 18. We're going back to 17.
Perfect.
All right.
Yeah,
that way chat kind of follows.
Yeah.
I realize a string here doesn't make much sense, but oh well, chat. We're not changing it. Okay.
We have a let and a const in the same thing, a button with a tab in the middle of it. I mean, this is not.
We are top tier programmers. Oh, what? What were you gonna say? I'm sorry, I cut you off.
No, this is not amateur hour. This is we do everything perfectly.
Yes.
Follow every one of our moves because they're brilliant.
So it's rendering twice for each one.
Yeah, so this is really interesting. So just that one little change, and this is the part that I didn't know. I didn't realize that if I call the update functions directly inside of my click handler, like whatever it is, that function, that event handler, then they're batched. If they get called later on the event stack, they're not batched.
Oh, got it. So just so it's clear, because we did change 2 things at once because we added the set timeout and we went to 17. So we're staying on 17. I am removing the set timeout. So now they're happening at the same time, and in 17 they were batched. If they happen at the same day, if they happened within this, but if they're made async, because just for chats, set timeout even with 0 puts it at the end of the call stack, so this won't happen until everything else is processed or until everything else runs. Now it doesn't get batched, and those 2 things are going to happen. So basically, update count's going to happen. It's going to re-render. Then update is out is going to happen, and it's going to re-render.
Yes.
Got it. Okay.
So super wild. Now they had a workaround. It was an unstable workaround in React 17. So we can actually kind of employ that now if we want to. So I can't remember exactly how this works. I think it's inside of the set timeout. We're gonna wrap these calls again with react.unstable _ batched updates, I think it is.
Is it available in React 18?
It should still be there as a no op. Yeah, so unstable batched updates.
Batched.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. So let's save that, and that should work. No. Unstable batched updates. Okay, maybe it's not in there. I thought it was supposed to be there.
Unstable batched updates.
It's React DOM. React DOM, I think.
Cool.
Yeah.
Is it stable in the RC? DOM. Cool. Unstable batched updates. Get rid of that. Okay, got it. Okay, so there was a way, but it was first off not recommended.
Not recommended. It was very like opt-in, like this is an escape hatch if you really need to do this, so if you're calling 100 update functions. This is actually one of the reasons so one of the reasons that I never experienced this is because I personally prefer use reducer. And so that is all kind of wrapped up into this. I'm not calling multiple set states to update a reducer.
Cool.
So yeah, now what we can do now that we have that in place, I kind of want to show how this gets handled. So let's change our rendering. Now that we've seen it, we can change our rendering back to version 18 or the
Cool.
create root version, and everything should still work the way that we expect, even though we have that unstable batched updates.
Yep, looks good.
Cool. Now, what this does though is that it makes unstable batch updates like a no op, right? Like so you're just like wrapping a function around this for absolutely no good reason.
Got it.
So if you do use this API or you operate a library that also that uses this, you can safely remove it in React 18 because it's doing that anyway for you by default. So we can drop that.
It just knows to? Like that part feels magic, right? Like
Weird, right?
yeah. Just
I
knows
think
to
like
batch everything.
I'm not going to even pretend that I know what's in the React source, but I suspect that this function, the unstable batch updates, probably still exists in some capacity, and it's just like automatically wrapping around the
Things like this, like it
things
can
like that.
identify things that have been
Yeah.
pulled out of the call stack, put at the bottom,
Don't quote me on that
the top.
because I have absolutely no idea, but I would suspect that's probably what's happening.
Clip it, chat, make it happen. Spread that around. Cool.
I'm gonna get a lot of angry tweets from the people who actually write code for a living.
Probably not. I don't think no one on Twitter ever gets upset about things, so you'll be fine. Um, awesome. That's really handy to know. I've definitely come into issues where like, why is that rendering twice? I don't know if I ever knew this bit, so that's really handy because I've definitely hit that, but didn't know why I was getting that. Maybe that's why some of my chat stuff hits twice, and it like my overlays I have to like do hacky workarounds because I'm getting too many renders. So that's really really
Yeah.
handy. That
Strict
might have
mode
been
is
why.
another thing that double renders things by default. So if you use strict mode or in development, I guess, but yeah, so if that might be
Got
another
it.
area where you.
Okay.
So I think that I have no idea, but I think that you'd see even more updates if you did this in. Or that might just be use effect. I don't know. I don't know anything.
I'll have you
Um.
come back on and debug my crappy code on another stream. Perfect.
All right. So let's see where are we at. So okay. So now what if you wanted the behavior before, like you wanted these discrete updates? Now it's automatically batching everything.
Okay.
So there's got to be an escape hatch to get the other thing. So there's a new API for that as well, and this is called what is it? React DOM.flush sync.
Huh.
Um,
Okay.
so we can individually wrap
Oh,
each of these in React DOM.flush sync and force it to update for each one.
okay. So we update. Sorry. We wrap each of them is what you said, right?
Yeah. Actually, I think that you could let's comment out that second one because I think that in this particular case, because there's only two, it would be it'll be fine.
Okay.
Oh no, I mean move the use the one
Got it.
yeah,
Just
just like that.
outside.
Yep,
That makes
perfect.
sense. Oh,
Yeah.
I am hitting all the wrong keys right now. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Cool, perfect. Yeah.
Got it.
And if you added another one, just because it would also do that. So,
Cool.
yeah.
All
So
right.
that's how you opt out of this, which is I think really important if for some reason you were actually depending like inadvertently depending on that behavior. Again, I don't know why you would be, but
Yeah.
like who knows? I've seen some naughty stuff in apps. So,
Yeah, for sure. The only thing I'm thinking is like one of these things takes a lot longer than the others, and you just kind of want the one to update and cut the line, and the other stuff can
yeah.
kind of wait. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe that might not happen within the same like async function, but I don't know.
Right.
But it's good to have the escape hatch because there's always someone out there with that one use case where it's like, no, actually, this is a valid reason. This is a valid use
Totally.
case. So
Yeah, and I think that the cool thing about this is that now you have a mechanism to like effectively guarantee that that is updated. Like that update is seen all the way through to the DOM.
cool.
So that's a really cool thing to know. Now, For this next one, the demonstration is actually like pretty significantly different. So I think we're going to need to go into our index.js and change it to lesson 9.
Nice. We're moving up in the
Yeah.
world, folks. We're on lesson 9. All right. Goodbye, lesson 1. Lesson 9. We're at the end of the lessons, at least.
End of the
Cool.
lessons.
All right. Handle class component set state edge case with React DOM.flush sync.
Okay. So this is chaotic evil for sure. Like there's just like some really gross stuff happening here. I want to see what state we're in. Hey, when was the last time you saw a class component?
I was about to say, I'm like, oh man, I wasn't even sure if React 18 worked with class components, to be honest. Yeah, no shame on them, chat. If you still use them in your project, I just haven't used them in a while. Just been using hooks, like I just really enjoy. Yeah, like super and props, haven't seen that in a bit. This dot state, yeah, it's kind of since React 16.4, as you kind of said, right? Like I've kind of,
Totally.
for the most part,
Just
migrated over.
done with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Interesting.
honestly, like, I had a hard time actually even making these examples because I could not remember how to write a class component. I was like, it extends, and then I know I do something with a constructor. Like, do I?
Yeah, people come on, and especially in like 3JS world, and they're like, all right, just make a class. And I'm like, can you tell me how to do that? Like, I'm a professional developer, and I don't remember how to make a class. I forget.
Yeah, well, and a lot of people like I feel like it's popular now to like really hate on hooks, and like people feel like classes were like you see every once in a while this sentiment of like, oh, hooks suck, like classes were the glory days, right? But like I had a lot of time. I lost a lot of time to trying to like make this thing work. I actually had to fix this demo before I like push it up for us to like work on it because I realized that there was a bug because I wasn't binding the handle click to this, and so it didn't have access to
I don't miss
the
that.
state.
I don't miss the dot
Yeah,
this. Yeah, like the bind. I kind of forgot about having
it's
to
in
do that. This
yeah, so it's
dot
in render.
bind
I'm doing the inline bind on line 31. But I
31.
remember this was like a whole like flame war,
Yeah,
right?
I
It's like,
don't
oh, don't
remember
inline
this.
bind. Like that's nuts. You're like, making a new function every time or
I
something.
just
I
haven't
don't
called
remember.
bind in years, and I don't really miss it. Cool. So we've got this class-based component.
Yes. Got a class based component. It is wild. Now this is actually let's see. So trying to remember now. Okay, so let's run this
Okay.
as is. So actually let's run it. We'll see it and we'll kind of like take a look at the code.
Okay. I think it's running. Let me just pop in that there just to make sure. Yep. Okay. Cool.
Trosting 1 2 3. So let's tap that button and see what happens. We have a console log statement. We'll kind of see. So we see count 1 is odd false, count 1 is odd true, and then we see count 2 is odd true, count 2 is odd false. So we're seeing these independent like state changes on this state object that we have. Let's jump back to our code and see what's generating that. So
here
there was this really weird thing that happened where you could like log partial states in asynchronous functions. So we're calling set state and like it's supposed to, I think it is, this is so confusing to me, but I think that technically it is batching them. So there might be fewer re-renders. We could test that theory if we wanted to like throw a console log in render.
Oh, right, the render function.
You're like, what is this?
Yeah, what? Huh? Console count.
Yeah, because I could very much be talking nonsense, and I don't want to talk nonsense.
Then you're on the wrong show, my friend. Yep, 2 3 4 5 6 7. Yeah, it's rendering between each.
Okay, so it is rendering both. Okay, cool. Good. And then which render are we on right now?
17.
Okay, let's see
Yeah.
if that's any different in 18.
Cool. So we're swapping over to create root dot
Yep.
render. Okay.
Actually, don't know what this is gonna do.
It's okay. It's only rendering or re-rendering once per click.
Cool. Okay. Cool.
And yeah, it's batching the console logs. It looks like
Yes.
because they're coming out the same.
Yes.
Got it.
So that's something to know when you're migrating these class components is that you have so these also get batched. When we had the kind of like set timeout, we're adding some asynchronicity there, and in this event, we can actually log the intermediate states of those state changes. In React 18, that changes, and so we need to be aware that that changes, and then kind of know how to fix it.
Got it.
And this is, I don't know. I know that there are plenty of people out there who are working on an app that has class components
Yep.
because Facebook has class components, and that's why they made these opt-out APIs.
Cool.
So what we can do is we can use the cool thing is we get to use the same strategy. So we're going to use React DOM, flush sync, and then wrap that around anything. So like if we need to recreate that weird behavior that we had before, where we want to log out the intermediate states, we can wrap each of these set states inside of flush sync.
So it's React DOM flush sync. It takes function. So just the set states or the console logs as well?
Nope. Yeah. So the console log you can do after. So this flush sync call is actually going to flush this synchronously to the DOM. And so then you can call
what's that flush verb? I'm not familiar with that.
Yeah. So that's a good question. I think I don't know.
Okay. I just wasn't sure if that was like a term that I just wasn't familiar with, but got it.
Yeah, I can't say for sure. I think it probably has something to do with like kind of like the opposite of queuing or batching or something like that. So you would have like, or at least an effect, right? Like so a lot of these things are being like queued up or batched into one thing, and then there's like a second phase where that actually gets rendered out into the DOM. So it's updating the internal state and then like rendering out to the DOM. And then what we're doing is we're using this flush sync call. I don't know why the verb is flush, but we're flushing those updates to the DOM and making sure that they happen at that point in time.
Okay.
Again, it doesn't answer your question. Maybe chat. Chat. Do you know what does flush mean?
Yeah, if you can check the new React beta docs for us. Those are so nice, by the way. I'm really excited to dig into those and have to use those like on a daily basis. So nice. Gemzas, welcome, by the way. Thanks for coming through. Yeah, great to have you here. I'm sure I'm talking out of my butt, but one of my apps didn't work the way I wanted to because the set state happened after render, ?
Yeah. So I think that sometimes this can happen if, what is it? So if you call set state, but then don't use the function syntax, this can happen sometimes. Where like if you use like this dot state, it can be stuck on like a stale value of state. And so when you call this dot set state, you need to call it with that function style. Where you what is it like this dot set state, or you take the previous state and then kind of like merge on the next state.
Got it. So are you talking about like a assignment, like this dot state equals an object, or you're kind of saying how this dot set state needs to like
like we're doing here?
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, those lifecycle methods were wild, right? Because there was this whole idea of like previous state, current state, next state. You had to think about time in like a really weird way, and you're like, okay,
it was some MCU, like it was a bit of like breaking the time.
Yeah. And you're the watcher, and you're like, do I intervene or do I
keep
my oath?
What do you do? Are you gonna get your own movie
down there?
Yeah, it's what we're all concerned about. Ben Holmes might be coming to the rescue here. Maybe you're flushing the render batch group. So that was his guess. And then he says, does this help? Flush sync flushes the entire tree and actually forces complete re-rendering for updates that happen inside of a call. So you should use it very sparingly. This way it doesn't break the guarantee of internal consistency between props, state, and refs. And yeah, Ben says flushing means to take everything in a buffer queue, whatchamacallit, and publish everything at once. Like it. Thank you, Ben and Ben. I appreciate you both. And Jamza says I'm super new to React. Right, they always do. Super new to React. And it was just confusing stuff that got me stuck for a few hours. I don't remember how exactly I fixed it, but that's what I troubleshot it. Got it. Awesome. Well, I'm glad you. It sounds like you figured it out. That's great, and it's great to have you. And yeah, congrats on learning React. It's just kind of gets better and better in terms of like the more you learn about it, the more updates come out, the more Next and Gatsby advance their frameworks. Like it's just fun to kind of keep continuing to learn in this ecosystem.
1000%.
Yeah. And React Holiday keeps getting better and better every year. React.holiday gems us if you're not already there. Go ahead and sign up. That would be good content. It's just the most sorry for saying the most generic thing I could about it. It's good content. That is
good content.
That's some good content. Yeah.
A friend of mine, one of my best friends, he's a fun guy. There's this thing that his dad says about food. So like he'll be eating food and he'll just say like, it's got good flavor. It's got good flavor. And it drives him up the wall. Like it, you know those things that your dad does, and you're like, oh, like, Dad, stop, please. But it's like that idea of like you couldn't have said anything more like better about like this.
I'm trying to convince people that I'm human kind of line, right? Like, oh, this is nourishment for my cells and blood vessels that I enjoy. Like, this has good flavor.
Very like Mark Zuckerberg ribs and ribs and brisket moment.
Yeah. It's
the ribs and brisket have good flavor.
Smoking some brisket. Yeah. Oh man, I'll tell you a story about Zuckerberg at the end of the show. Just remind me. Jamzas, thank you for the follow. Welcome, honorary horse. Great to have you. Cool. So did we do this? Okay, we wrapped it in Flush Sync. Flush Sync is a React 18 thing, right?
Yep.
Cool.
Yep.
So now with Flush Sync there, those will happen in that broken way again, or
in the broken way. Yeah.
It's just the way that typically we wouldn't desire. We don't want more re-renders, right? Like that's kind of what you try to avoid. But as you said before, if your app is depending on that second render for some reason, this will make it so that that is flushed out of that batch and that they happen separately. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. That is a really good call out to all of these things this is a migration strategy, right? Like, so the goal is that you can get your code to be working like top down on React 18, the way that you expect it to work. Okay. And what that means is that there are going to be times we're going to have to step away from a best practice in order to just get it working.
Right.
And so if you find that, these performance updates are actually ruining something in your app, this is a way to kind of quickly get back to what you had before. Now, that's not actually ideal. Like the goal is not to just get back to what you had before. The goal is to like not have Flush Sync in your app. Yeah. And so kind of figuring out how to make it work without having to escape out into this pattern. So that's a really good call out that this is not, we're not teaching you this because it's the ideal like best practice, but because you may need it just to like close that card and then like circle back, on your update later to actually solve it.
Yeah, if you've got a huge app, React 18 seems to be great in that you don't have to do a full rewrite of your code base. You can kind of hit these things bit by bit. And I think that some of React 18's new way of just the new way that it works will point out some of the inconsistencies in your code that you might have missed. Like you might not have known about those re-renders and oops, I kind of need to clean that code up. But I can do it later. I can hold off and I can ship it with React 18 today because we have these escape hatches that at least create stop gaps so that I can ship React 18, benefit from some of the things that it's offering, and get back to getting rid of the flush sinks and the other escape hatches whenever I can.
Yep.
So.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah, so that's kind of I think that's really it. So if you can this should get you through everything you need to it should cover all of the kind of changes based on the performance optimizations.
Okay.
And if you have I don't think that there should really be anything else that you would run into that you might
Wow.
I don't know what I'm saying. I've lost my
You're saying that the thing is
today.
good and then things are good and good job.
Yep. That's it. You got it.
Yeah, so if I could try to sum it up, you've touched on pretty much every gotcha that you might encounter. So if you're out there, if you are migrating to React 18, first off, check out this repository because Chan did a great job of putting that together, and we walked through it because he is here with me, and we didn't have to go through these exact lessons, but each one of these files walks you through one of those gotchas that you might hit, or one of those things you might want to fall back to, like I still need to use React 17's create root, right? Is that right? Yeah.
Yep.
No, React 17's render function for whatever reason, or I need to do two. So you should be set out there in cyberspace, to upgrade to React 18 based on what we've got here. And now I think we have a little bit of time to take this buggy off of this smoothly paved path and into maybe a tree right away, but hopefully just into some slightly bumpier road. For what exactly?
Yeah, so one of the things that I think would be fun to talk about is some of the concurrent, some of the new features. And so as we were talking about the gradual adoption strategy of React 18, all of this stuff is designed to, with minimal intervention, as we've seen, and honestly, for the benefit of someone making the migration, I wanted it to be thorough, but really, you probably won't have any of these issues. So it's very likely that it's just very smooth. You change the renderer, you put it in front of your beta users, you push it to production, you're good. So I've made a lot of hay out of probably nothing.
That's great.
So
I appreciate that term too. We all appreciate that here. Well done.
Thank you. That would be a great segment, actually, making hay, where you take things way too far.
I want to play horse with guests, where you try a thing, then I try a thing, we try to match it, right? There's so many. It's just endless nonsense ideas here for sure. Yeah.
I love it. It. I wish that I had that level of creativity. No, I'm just
just find a .horse domain. Is all it is.
Backend horse.
Yes.
So let's pull down another repository. Have you pulled this one down yet?
You tell me. Yes. So we've got concurrent mode in 30.
So I have another thing, and this is so this is really interesting. I think I set this up. I've been teaching React Suspense for a very long time. I have if you go to just talk about domains, I have a domain. If you go to reactsuspense.com, it goes to a egghead course that I made on Suspense. I don't know if it was 2 or 3 years ago, but it was years ago.
I don't recognize this person. Almost.
I know. Who is that emo dork right there? I need to update my egghead profile in a bad way.
So good.
So this is kind of in support of or this repo here is in support of that course, which I'm really hoping to update now that we have a release candidate for React 18 that includes these features in a stable release. So what we're going to go through here in the remaining time we have is kind of playing with the suspense features. Now the cool thing is that once we're on the React 18 render, we actually have access to these suspense features.
Awesome.
Or I think they're called like concurrent features now. The branding is all still a little bit confusing to me, but like concurrent features, I think is what we're concurrent rendering, and concurrent
Right,
features
because
is what
concurrent mode is dead, right?
concurrent
They
mode is
nixed
dead.
that.
I actually have a blog post called "Concurrent Mode is Dead." And
I just said it. You already stole my blog post title. It just came
I
out of my
did.
mouth. Wow. All right. All right.
I know. I
Cool.
stole it from you during the months that we've been
Incredible.
friends and having
Been
secret
besties for sure.
conversations with
Yep.
handshakes and private jokes.
Cool. So, what was I gonna say? Oh, could you quickly, or no, I guess we're gonna explain what suspense is through the actual action.
Totally.
So we'll do that here. So if you don't know what suspense is, don't worry. We will explain why you want it and why it's great.
Yeah, and I will say I updated this package, this repository this morning, and I really only had to change like the argument order of something called use transition. So
Cool.
the API that I've done to build this like little like Pokemon app has stayed relatively stable.
Cool.
So let's I guess let's just go in as far as we can. I'm gonna try to open up the README, and we'll kind of go through the parts of this. If you do want to follow along later, I think there are a handful of instructions in the README if you wanted to kind of like take this a little bit further, but don't want to like go and take that course or whatnot.
Got it. Awesome.
So okay, cool. So we have that. Let's once it's loaded, I guess let's open up our app.js.
Cool. Source app.js. Got it.
Cool. Perfect. Yeah. And so I want to start this in like a really like simple kind of way. So if we look at what we have here, I think we're importing a Pokemon detail component, and we have some fixture data that we're like passing in to render like a specific Pokemon.
Okay.
And then we're importing our component statically at the top of the file, our Pokemon detail. Yeah, perfect. Okay. So the first thing that we want to do to kind of like have a reason for suspense is import this lazily. And we can do that pretty easily. So we're going to use a dynamic import. So instead of import, we'll use const. So we'll do an assignment here. And const Pokemon detail. So we'll move over to the right a little bit, equals. And we'll use the dynamic import syntax, which is import with a function, or called as a function. Yeah. And we can still use the same path, just like that. Now, React actually doesn't know what to do with this. So this will get imported dynamically just by virtue of it being like JavaScript and the bundler and all that stuff that happens. But React doesn't know how to kind of fit this in, how to treat it like a component if we just import it like that. So we need to wrap it in React Lazy, and this is all available in 17. We've been able to do that, do this before, but we need to wrap that in React Lazy. So the import call itself, we'll do React.lazy. We'll open up a function and then pass it an anonymous function, which will then do the import.
I have to return this though, or no? I guess I don't have to.
Yeah, I think it'd be fine without any additional punctuation. Yeah. Perfect. So yeah, so save that. And we should have the same functionality if we run our app, which should just, I think it just like renders the first like
run
Pokemon
start.
Like that.
Is that what we're doing?
Yes, you're on start.
Cool. I did npm this time, just because I didn't see a yarn lock. I saw a package lock, so hope that's all good. It's gonna take
and I think
another few minutes.
I think I jumped ahead. Do you want to open up the package JSON file while we're waiting, and then make sure that I updated this. Okay, yeah. So
Looks
we're already
good.
on RC. So we shouldn't have to do that whole dance that we already covered in the last one.
Cool. All right. Not seeing anything yet. Cannot read properties of undefined. Reading then.
Interesting. Let me look at my. Now this could be exactly the type of error. I might just not be familiar with this error, but let's see. So because we're loading it, let's move on, because I think that like part of the problem is that we just need to wrap this in
In
suspense.
suspense.
So
Makes sense.
yeah. So we have this component and it's throwing an error. And I think that we could probably wrap it in an error boundary. That's like one of my favorite things to do to start. And
Cool.
so we're going to wrap it in an error boundary as close to the dynamic part as possible.
Okay.
And what we'll see first is that even though this breaks, the Pokedex part of this app is still going to render. So right
Got it.
now it explodes, right?
Right. The whole thing. Yeah. We see nothing there, but we're gonna make it so that at least we will get this heading.
Yes. Yeah.
Cool.
So we have let's wrap this. So I have a pre-made error boundary, so you can just do error boundary and we can import it later. So capital E, yeah, perfect. Error boundary, yep, just like that. And then at the top we'll import it from it's just /error dash boundary.
Cool.
Perfect. Yep. Okay, so now we should separate. Yep. And we see that. So we still have an error, but we've been able to protect the rest of our app from that breakage, which is
Cool.
a really cool feature, to be honest. Like that alone is like a really neat part of suspense. Now this isn't like new. This is we're still in React 17 space. So let's go in back to our code and let's
Even
actually add
16, right?
yeah, actually, yeah, it's been in there for forever.
Cool.
I don't remember exactly when it got added, but yeah, like it might have been pre-hooks actually. Now that
Interesting.
I'm thinking about it, that we had these like suspense and lazy loaded
That
components.
feels right, but I don't know. Just checking this real
Yeah,
quick.
chat,
So,
you want to verify that for us?
so what does this
Yes.
do?
So this is a like box standard error
Cool.
boundary. Like, so if you get an error or like, I can't remember. If you get an error in React, it'll give you a warning telling you to like open the page for error boundaries, and like it's this component, so it's
Cool.
literally just copy pasted. If you Google error boundary, it's just, yeah, it's that minus I do a
There it
console
is.
error and they have some kind of like variable like log to service or something
Cool.
like that. Yeah.
All right.
Perfect. Yeah.
Nice. So that's great.
So yeah, so then we can add a suspense boundary around that, which will actually give us the behavior that we want. So and then you can compose these either way. I tend to like the error boundary on the outside.
Okay.
So I'll put like so react.suspense right in there, or you can import it
Right.
however you named import destructuring. I guess that's not technically destructuring, right? It's just a
Yeah, it's just like the default and
the,
named import. So you go suspense.
yeah.
And then get rid of that.
Yeah. Either way works.
Cool.
And then with suspense, we also need to give it a fallback. So, we're kind of doing this on the quick, but I would kind of generally just like build it up from the errors. It'll give you an error that, hey, you had a suspense boundary enacted and you don't have a fallback. And so you just add this fallback prop. I guess we can see it.
Probably up.
It's not.
Interesting.
Huh. I wonder why that is.
Might be too much of is that breaking first? I'm curious. Huh. It's not yelling at us.
I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Alright.
maybe it's deeper.
Anyway, we should still do it. Even if you don't get yelled at, still do the right thing. That's a lesson to all you kids out there, all right? Just because your parents aren't yelling at you, should still do your homework. All right. Trying to reach all the youths on the show. That's my main goal, for real. Cool. So fallback, what could that
Hey
be?
kid, want some Pokemon cards?
Yeah, we're doing this for you. We don't know what the heck Pokemon is. Too old for this. I don't know what this is.
So then we can put anything in here, right? We can put a component in here. We can just put a string that says like dough, like whatever we want. We can put in here.
So cool.
I think Jam says I think we do have initial Pokemon below, so it's like on line 22. Yeah, so I
That
think
was
I'm not
Ben.
exactly sure why it's
Yeah.
yeah, it is yeah, it is. So I don't know.
James is pointing out the flaws in my marketing strategy. I should stop taking out ads in the Fortnite lobbies for this show. I don't think it's paying off. I don't think my ROI is really hitting. Cool.
Hey kids, want to learn about React?
Are you tired of your apps re-rendering over and over again? React 18's for you. All right. So we got our little fallback. Oops.
And I'm just thinking about how old we are now. Like I was feeling fine, and now I'm like, oh wow, yeah, no, we're ancient. Okay, so what do we have right now? So are we still having problems? Do we get an oops at least this time?
No, we didn't. Does that need to be in?
No, you should just be able to pass it. This is so weird.
Huh? Am I like running the right thing?
Okay, let me look at this thing. So we're
Pokedex.
importing React Lazy. We're definitely off the beaten track right now. So I just we warned you.
Why we told you to get your ATVs and your beach buggies ready because cannot read properties of undefined reading.
Okay,
then.
let's open up Pokemon detail because it's totally possible that I changed something inside of the Pokemon detail component that made it unrenderable in this environment. Let's see. So let's open that up, and because I think there's a lot of stuff happening. Okay, so it tries to render stats and children. What's the error that we're getting again?
Something about then. Can't read properties of undefined reading then. Lazy suspense error boundary div at app at lazy. Should we try to remove the lazy import real quick?
React. Okay, I'm trying to.
Because I don't know if it was ever working. Let me just see, because we didn't run it until after.
Yeah, we changed too many things at once, didn't we?
Yeah, I just want to... now I forget how to do regular imports. Cool. All right, let's just see if... Okay, so that works. It's around the lazy loading aspect.
Okay, cool.
Are we getting the syntax wrong there?
I don't think so. Okay, so it should be const or let, whatever you want. Pokemon detail equals react.lazy. We give it an anonymous function that
does it need to return it? Yep, it needs to return it. Okay, so that's the lesson learned.
Did we have a block in there?
Yep. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No. I asked and you answered, and I think I misunderstood what you had said. I think you're like, "Yeah, we should do that." I'm like, "Oh, okay." I took it the
totally
other
didn't
way.
even see it. I had this tiny little teleprompter, and I was like missing the syntax there. Okay, cool. So it wasn't us. It wasn't on us.
No, it was on one of us. It was the person who typed it.
No blame. No blame.
It's all good. Nice, cool. So that was a nice little debugging thing. Actually, we kind of went through like, all right, so the component works. We got that. So that was solid.
And we did something that totally wasn't our fault.
Yes.
I mean, we didn't do something that totally wasn't our fault.
We did not do that, right?
It wasn't our fault, regardless of what happened, is what I'm trying to say.
No and yes, exactly.
Indifferent to what happened, there was no fault assigned to us.
Nope.
Or to be had.
So,
okay, sorry.
It's all good. So, we've got this.
Okay, so
we've got our fallback, but we don't need it right now.
Yeah, so we have this we have our fallback. If we did want to, we could get kind of like, wild and then like return a bunch of stuff. So if we did in this case for a Pokemon detail, if instead of importing we just like returned like a promise.reject or something like that, then that would enact the error boundary. If we returned a promise that just never resolved, that would enact the suspense boundary. So there's a lot of things like around promises that we like connect to those boundaries.
Okay.
Now, just like we have to use React lazy around our lazy import or dynamic import, we also have to have some kind of like translator that we would use in between some type of fetch call and the suspense and error boundaries. And so just to kind of like fast forward a little bit, there's like a pre-baked version of this. It's the I think it's in API.
Okay.
So at the bottom, I think, yeah. So on line 23, there is a like suspensify like function here. And this is like the minimum amount of code that you need to connect a promise to a like suspense and error boundaries. So it's like this really like minimal kind of like utility that will do that for you. Now, when suspense for data fetching actually gets fleshed out, there's going to be like a first class version for this. I imagine that this would be like React fetch will eventually be like this wrapper with maybe some degree of caching or something like that around fetch. So just in the same way that we have React.lazy, we would probably have like, React fetch as a library that you could include.
It's really cool.
Yeah, but this is kind of like just doing it by hand, and you can see that it's holding some like type of internal state based on the promise, and then it interacts with those boundaries in the in that read function. So it throws it's a very like strange API, but like it throws a promise if it wants to interact with the suspense boundary, and it will, let's see, how does the error, I can't remember, error
result. So it throws the result.
It'll throw the result,
and if the status is success, it'll return it to you. But otherwise, it's throwing an error and it's giving you what it got back.
Yep, exactly. Cool. So kind of wild, and it's a wild thing that you have to do. But if it's like, what is that? It's like 23 lines of code or something like that.
And it's boilerplate that I can copy from your project, and you copied from someone else, right? Like that's pretty much cool. So it's not nothing I have to worry about.
Yeah, and ideally you won't have to worry about this at all if you use something like React Query or Apollo or eventually like React Fetch.
Yeah,
that's going to get like rolled into this. However, I think it's interesting to know, if you have other promises that you in your app that you want to try to integrate into this React suspense thing, you can do that with this function.
Cool.
So yeah, so that's that. So let's do something. Let's go back to our app real quick, and we're gonna put our Pokemon on state.
On state?
Yeah, actually, let's see. So export for
thank you for the follow, Dex Vinyl. Welcome. Good to have you.
Yeah, I'm trying to think about the best path to go from here. So let's go back into our app, and we're gonna actually import that Suspensify function from our API. And we're gonna wrap our initial Pokemon in it.
I think it was just a named export, right?
Yeah, and I think that we'll do so. Yes, cool. Yeah. So you should. Oh, is it not importing?
It should be.
Yeah,
I think it is.
I'm wondering why you're getting that squiggly.
It's not a word, I think, maybe, or it's declared but never read, unknown word, defined but never used. Yeah.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Oh, right. That makes sense. Yeah. Okay, and then I think that we can wrap.
So... Hold on. We just got Jason Lakesdorf rating with 42 people. Jason, thank you so much. Welcome, everyone. This is Chantastic, and you are here at the. I guess we can come here. Hi, everyone. You can't just stay small when you're welcoming people into the. Come on in. Welcome. Yeah, we are working on React Suspense. Our host today is Michael Chan, aka Chantastic.
On the host?
Yeah. No, I quit. I'm done. Yeah. Also, I don't know what a
Oh,
host or a guest is. I use those words interchangeably. They mean the same thing to me. I guess I'm
this
the
is my
host. You are
show.
the guest. Sure, why not?
I want to welcome everybody to the Chan Horstig Hour with me and some guy who's my
Yeah.
producer here
Yep.
who is just like turning the knobs. That's it. I
See,
don't know why
I
there's
want them all to
a
follow.
picture.
Oh yeah, no, I don't know why. I want them all to stick around. So I'm like, oh, this isn't mine. This is his. It's good. Trust me. He's always here. So that's the mind game that I'm subconsciously doing. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. So yeah, we have been going through today, migrating to React 18, and right now we are working on Suspense. Chan is teaching me everything I need to know. It's an absolute blast. So good to have you all here. Welcome. And real quick, if I can scroll up a little bit and grab the thing, folks, we've got actually, if you don't mind, I would love to put on a quick ad for the show we've got coming up that
Oh,
you are
please. Yeah.
actually at.
Yeah.
FH
Hype.
Holiday
Hype.
2021, I think is what it is. Did I get my own thing right? I did. Let's see it. So,
Yeah, shortcut.
this
Oh, pretty.
is the event page for the event that we have coming up next Friday. I am so freaking excited for this. Look at this lineup. Dave Rupert, Kevin Powell, George Francis, Monica Powell, not related. I had many questions about that. Those are different Powells. Michael Chad right here. Josh Como, Kent C. Dodds, Chris Coyer, Varun Vashar, Cassidy Williams, Scott Hanselman, and Amelia Wattenberger are all going to be here on one day. Next Friday, we have two great sponsors, Prismic and Netlify. We are raising money. It's all for a big fundraiser. We're raising $10,000, so we need you here to support, to celebrate. We have Prismic and Netlify are matching donations, so it's going to be fantastic. I just dropped the link in there. Please register. It helps me get more sponsors and everything. I know we just met, chat. You just got dumped in here, but it's going to be so great. I know I'm asking for a lot, but please register. I'm not going to spam you. It just helps me go, look, we have 300 people sponsor and give good money to charity. We're doing open seas. We're cleaning the ocean. So would absolutely appreciate it if you come out. Thank you to all these follows. Dev Life, Somac Dev, Creative Soapbox, Rio. Thank you. But yeah, this is going to be huge. I've been planning it out with people in the Front End Horse Discord. Michael's been a huge help. So just wanted to just say, like, this is going to be so good. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Lots of ridiculous holiday stuff. So please sign up for that. And it's great to have you. I'm not gonna hold us up from suspense. Oh wow, that's a pun of sorts. I've been holding you in suspense. I promised that we talk about suspense, but yeah. Jason, again, thank you so much, and thank you to Netlify, who Jason is leading up the DevX team over there for sponsoring that. I'm thrilled. I think we're going to raise a lot of money, and that's fantastic. It's going to be a lot of fun. Going to be a lot of fun while we're doing it. The community is working hard on making this. Yeah, the community has absolutely been. Ben, you've been so helpful. Our friend Life is making the most incredible animations. Yeah, for some 3D presents. It's going to be so cool. So. Hope to see you there. I'm just going to drop it one more time, and then I'm done. And then I'm done. We're back to React.
Drop it like 4 more times.
I might, but I got to space it out, you know.
Nightbot's doing some work for you. So
Nightbot is doing some work. I'll wait for it to come around. Yeah, for sure. Cool. So we just wrapped this Pokemon detail in a suspense. Not a suspense function, but a suspense object or a suspense component, right? So it's the built-in React suspense component, or not. Yeah, we're importing that from React. We've got an error boundary that you created, but it's pretty boilerplate. Awesome. So what do we want to do next here? We were just importing Suspensify, that function that we checked out.
So we have that little utility Suspensify, and that is doing some work. We talked about how that interacts with the suspense and error boundaries. Now what we're gonna do is, I think, how are we gonna do this? Actually, I think what we want to do is we want to return. So our initial Pokemon, we actually want to wrap that in Suspensify. So I think that we can do so. Let initial Pokemon at the bottom there. I think we can do promise dot resolve, maybe. I think we could probably do that. and then
Like this?
wrap.
Equals promise.resolve?
Yeah, and then yeah, just wrap that whole object in there. I might be doing
But
something super stupid.
in a callback or just the object itself?
I don't even know. Let's try it in the object itself and see what happens.
Okay, cool. Initial Pokemon promise.resolve. All right. Oops. Sorry, I'm plugging the show again accidentally. That'd be so obnoxious. Just like, oops. Did I mention we have a big show on Friday? I don't feel bad because I'm plugging it so much because it's a charity fundraiser. I wouldn't be plugging it that hard otherwise.
I think you should plug it that hard otherwise, and
Yeah,
even harder because it's a charity fundraiser.
That's really it. But cannot read properties of undefined reading map. So it
Okay,
doesn't
this is
like
great. So
something
let's
that we
go
did.
into our Pokemon detail.
Okay.
And because we've wrapped that in our suspense function or suspensify function, that actually gives us a read property. And that allows us to kind of like continue to pull, like basically get the status of that promise and be able to interact with the suspense boundary. So anywhere where we're using Pokemon, it might be towards the top, right there. So there's actually a comment out on line 5, and we can actually swap that with line 4. We're just going to do resource.read. So we're passing in the suspensified promise into this component. And so we want to now call read on that value, which is a function in our suspensify utility.
Oh, okay. Where is? Am
Yeah,
I missing
so
it?
you're just over it.
Read.
Yeah,
There it
so
is.
line
There it is.
37. Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
So
Interesting.
yeah, so that is so we're returning a function basically that's going to like continue to get called until it's either resolved errors or resolves or errors.
Got it.
So let's try that again and
Okay.
see what we get.
But we aren't. We're not using Suspensify yet.
Oh, sorry. We need to. Oh, yeah. We need to resolve. We need. Let's see. Promise.resolve, and then do we wrap that? I think, or do we wrap our resolved promise in? I can't remember. Dang it.
Let's
Uh,
look at the thing. So yeah,
let's try it both ways.
it's gonna wrap a promise. No, so I mean, Suspensify, it takes a promise, right?
Okay. Cool. Yeah. So let's.
That
So I
looks right
wonder
to
though if that's going
me.
to be problematic. Yeah. Let's try it though. Why not? See, this is the
Okay.
problem of me just like not having any boilerplate and then just kind of like doing everything. Okay. Cool. It worked.
That worked. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. And then what is it complaining about keys or something like that?
Functions are not valid as a React child. This may happen if you have a component instead of component from render.
Oh, okay.
If you use
Yeah,
a
that's
component
probably
instead of okay.
some funkiness I have in a component. Don't
No
worry about
worries.
it. This won't
Cool.
affect a normal human that doesn't do weird stuff.
Cool.
So that's pretty cool. So right now we're not doing anything. We don't have a truly asynchronous operation, right? Like we're not fetching anything. We're just kind of simulating a successful fetch around this like fixture data that we that we have.
You feel strongly about that.
um, yeah, so let's actually like incorporate fetch now. So from our API, we can if actually if, oh my gosh, words are hard
Oh,
this
good man.
morning.
You've been going for 2 hours. It's totally understandable.
We can import one of our APIs. So let's look and see what we have. We can import a single Pokemon, or we can
Okay.
import a collection of Pokemon. I would say let's start with the single Pokemon,
Cool.
because that's what
it's
we
swapping out for.
yeah, that's what we're swapping it out for. And so, yeah, good call. We'll keep the suspensify, and then inside of it, we will call. I can't remember if we need to pass an anonymous function or not, but I think we can just call it with a Pokemon ID, and let's call it with a different Pokemon ID, like 2 or 3, and get a different Pokemon just to make sure that it's working and not
Cool.
from some cache or something. So what do we have?
Yeah,
Oh, cool.
Just took a second. Yeah, Venusaur.
Yeah,
There you
give me a
go.
second. Awesome. Look at us.
Cool.
So
7. I think 7. Is that Squirtle? There you go. Nailed it.
oh, look at you.
Nailed it.
Look at that recall. Boom.
Childhood well spent, my friend. So cool. So we don't have to set up any of the stuff around like here if we go to Pokemon detail, I don't have to check to make sure that Pokemon exists. I don't have to do all of those kinds of things around Pokemon and right, like it's just suspense
Right.
is handling that for me, and this suspensify function is handling
Yes.
that, right?
Yeah, so if you go back into the app code, you can kind of like like get a sense of like what this style of authoring is getting for you. So instead of having a big block where you're gonna like, kind of fetch some data and then based on the state of that, you might get like, we see this all the time, like destructure, like is error, is loading, is, I don't know, is whatever is the
Right.
success case. I can't even remember. We see that all the time. And so you have like this big kind of conditional block right in your render function. This is a little cooler because you can kind of compose things together. You're like, I want this Pokemon detail, but in the event that it's not showing, here is the fallback for that. Or in the event that I don't have information yet, here's the fallback for that. In the event that it errors out, here's the error boundary for this. And because these are in JSX, you can actually compose these in really interesting ways. So,
Hmm.
if you move that error boundary up above the Pokédex, which you're totally allowed to do, given the way these are composed, now, we were seeing Pokédex if there was an error before, we were
Right.
still seeing Pokédex. So like Pokédex was kind of like protected from this error. But now, since we lifted it up and everything is in that error boundary, now if there's an error, it's going to go all the way to the error boundary and the whole page closes. So you
Cool.
have a lot of compositional control just with the components to like kind of protect different parts of your site from other parts of your site.
Awesome.
Yeah. So let's actually pull in, like, just for the sake of example. So maybe break that again.
Okay.
Um, and so I think you did like what did you do? Like a promise reject or something like
Yeah, I
that. Oh,
decided
you
just
gave it. Yeah.
give it a crappy a thing. Are you a
What if
Pokemon?
my
Nope. You are
what if my details showed up there? That would
that
just be
returned.
that
Like,
would be great.
oh, this all makes sense now. Everyone's like, oh, why didn't we see this before? It was a Pokemon the whole time. Yeah, okay. Looking back, I should have seen it. Yep. Chat can argue over what your types are.
Oh yeah, yeah. I would love to know. I would love to know what my type is. Um, so let's try pulling in. So I have a Pokemon list component, and it's like
Okay.
fully pre-composed. So if you go over to Pokemon, if you want to open it up, I think we can see what it. Oh, you have it open.
Yep. Yeah.
We can see what it does. So it actually creates. It does all of this stuff inside of a component. So we can just import this component. It's going to do everything that we need to do, but it gives us a chance to illustrate suspense boundaries.
Okay. So head back
So
to app.
yeah, and let's import this with the same style as what's on line
6
6.
now.
So the dynamic one,
Cool. So Pokemon
a fighting
list.
type.
Yeah, fighting type, no big deal. It's great. Just before stream go Chantastic, I choose you. So good. And I'm pretty
Oh my
sure
gosh, that's
every
pretty
guest
good.
faints at the end of the show. You don't see it, but as soon as I power down, yeah. Okay, cool. So we've got Pokemon list now. Are we swapping out Pokemon detail or just adding a component?
Okay, yeah. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put these in two different suspense boundaries. And
Okay,
actually, honestly, two error boundaries if we want to. So if
got it.
one fails, it's not
Should,
gonna impact the other.
cool. So should
Now we
I?
can
What's up?
actually let's start with putting it side by side with the Pokemon detail, or sorry, leave the error boundary where it was, but then put it put the Pokemon list next to the Pokemon detail inside of our existing suspense boundary.
Cool. And then I assume this takes resource as well.
No, this one it does everything. So you just need to pull in that component, and it will do the whole thing on its own.
Oh, right. You did say that. And it'd be cool if I
Yeah.
listened. That'd be
No,
really neat.
we had a lot going on. It has been a long time. It's
It
been,
has.
we were even on before this. So
Can't
okay,
resolve
so
Pokemon.lazy. That's not okay. That might be the. I wonder why. Yeah.
it's getting
As you were
rough. We're getting
saying,
punch drunk.
it's been basically. It's been a while. Cool. So we are breaking and something went wrong. But if we didn't have Pokemon list there,
Now this is because I think we're looking for the Pokemon Chan, which doesn't exist.
You
And
are
so,
correct. You still don't exist as a Pokemon. I'll go back to Mr. Mime per request. And then, all right, so let's refresh from there. Okay, so we got
okay,
Mr.
cool.
Mime
So,
and we get all these. Awesome.
yeah. Now, so let's go back to breaking it, because I think this is really, I want to illustrate the power of like these suspense boundaries. So if we break that again and send it, the string Chan, I want to show you how we can compose these boundaries so that they, do what we want them to do. So if we have, so we could give this like its own suspense boundary. So let's put that down and then wrap it in another suspense
Do you want it inside the
boundary.
error boundary or outside,
Uh,
inside its own error boundary, or
oh yeah, actually we will need dedicated error boundaries for this. You're right.
cool. All right, like that. Loading full list. Oh,
Yeah, perfect.
loading single. So that broke immediately. Why aren't I seeing the loading single fallback here?
Let's see. So let's see. So we have suspense.
Is
I
it, yeah.
I wonder if it's just resolving fast enough that it just
Um,
breaks.
is that call? Is that? That's what it is. We had the function there when we didn't need it. That's what I wasn't sure
Okay.
about.
Yeah.
And that yeah, cool. All right.
Cool.
So we see loading full list, and then it loads, and this breaks, but doesn't break our app. We can still continue on with everything, right?
Yep. Exactly.
Cool.
So super cool stuff. So now we can kind of, we can put that back to what it was before. The fetch Pokemon with 122 for Mr. Mime.
Cool. And then we'll have a full working app.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Cool. Perfect.
Nice.
Now I want to show you something. We're kind of jumping around a little bit. There's a lot of really cool features, but I don't know. I think we might not have time to dive into all of them. But I do want to talk about something that's really kind of like fun. So we have something that is interesting about these suspense boundaries, is that they're also like composable. Not composable. You can coordinate them. That's the CO word that I'm looking for.
Okay.
You
Not
can
compostable.
coordinate, not compostable.
Okay.
I do like compostable code though.
Be nice if things just broke down and deteriorated. It feels like that when I go back to a project after a year. It's like, oh, this broke down. Something
Somehow it got
just
worse. I don't see
disintegrated
any Git
somehow.
commits, but it's definitely worse now.
So we can compose them.
Yeah,
Oh,
now this will
oh,
kind of change things.
no. You said coordinate, or
Coordinate, yes,
that's what it is.
coordinate. Yeah. So, and this, I think that these APIs are still there, but I haven't actually checked this yet. So what we can do now is let's put all this into a single error boundary,
Okay.
or we just have to flip things around a little bit. So there's a new component called suspense list,
Okay.
and we're gonna actually wrap every. Let's see. Yeah, so we'll import suspense list, and we will let's wrap it around our error boundary for now, but we're
Okay.
actually going to nest the error boundaries inside of the suspense items, because or the corresponding suspense components, because suspense boundaries need to be the direct children of a suspense list. But we can just kind of like fix this with we can just recompose these. So we'll put an error boundary around or inside. We'll have two error boundaries, one inside of each of our suspense boundaries.
Cool. And then,
Doesn't matter a ton. Again, like you can compose this like any way that makes sense for your specific app, right? So
okay.
you could do this, totally. You could just have one suspense boundary around both of these, if you wanted them to, resolve that way.
Cool. Getting an
So
error.
what are
That's
we
invalid.
getting? I wonder if they removed suspense list.
Yeah, I'm thinking they might have, because I didn't see it there. Like if I
Yeah, it's not
go,
coming in.
yeah, suspense is there.
Wait, what was the?
Does anyone know what suspense list has become? Why
Is
did you
that
do
so?
a
I see.
suspense list?
So it says
Suspense
suspense
props.
list right there, right?
I think that's because
Or
we
is
have it listed
because we
here.
tried to import it?
Yeah,
Okay,
no,
cool.
because it's
So
already yeah.
I mean, good to know. So this is one of the APIs that just doesn't exist anymore, I guess. So this is
Suspense list helps coordinate many components. Interesting. But in React 18, where is it?
yeah, I think maybe it could be removed or not here yet because this is definitely part of the experimental docs. So I wonder if this is still exists in the experimental branch that we were talking about at the beginning, but not in the branch that we have here.
Interesting. Suspense list. Yeah, this is what we just looked at. Huh. I don't know.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's try one more thing. How much time do you have? Do you want to keep going on?
Let's do one more thing, just because I
Okay.
actually do, and this is true. I have to catch a flight. I'm flying for the first
Oh,
time since
wow.
before this whole pandemic thing started. So yeah,
Congrats.
it's gonna be interesting. So yeah, I actually do have to catch a flight. Does Suspense work with Next.js? Good question, viable clan member.
Oh, that's a good question. I do not know. I know that there were a lot of updates to Next.js, and I know that they are really on the forefront of a lot of these features. So I'm sure that they have some kind of like experimental mode that does it. I know they have server components. Um,
So, so to enable, use the experimental flag. So it seems like it's experimental. And
yep,
once you enable that flag, you can use Suspense and SSR streaming for all pages. I'll make this bigger. Uh,
killer.
yeah. So yeah, they've been big on it. But it seems like um, you are acknowledging, yeah, this is experimental. That this might not be super stable. The experimental
Oh
feature
yeah,
in
because
Next.js 12. Yeah,
even their version, even their feature is experimental, so it's not just the React part of it.
right. So
Yeah.
yes, but if you work for big important company and you're shipping feature tomorrow, yeah, might want to hold off. But yeah, it's you can go play with it today. Is what it seems like. Emphasis on play. So yeah, good question though.
Yeah, you
Might
get a
Google Flu is
nice
strong.
pull
Anthony,
request.
seriously. Yeah. Anthony
Yeah.
is phenomenal at finding this stuff. He drops back in from the Redwood meetup and it's just finding those docs. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
First heard about this
Strong
feature in
link chops.
1987. Viable clan member, that's a little too true. I first heard about Suspense in 1987, so I'm glad to see it finally available behind a flag. It feels a little like that, right? But it's here, and I am grateful. All right,
Well, I learned
Suspense.
something today that Suspense List is not in this
They
release
killed it.
candidate, so
It's
that's probably
dead.
good. Yeah, yeah, it got killed. So I should not have skipped ahead to that, unfortunately. But
All good.
yeah,
Do
so
one
we can
more.
actually let's try and add a button because I would love to talk
Cool.
about the use. There's a start transition and a use transition API, and
Oh,
if you follow the repo, it will the repo that we've been going through. It will talk about use transition. Start transition is basically just a pre-destructured version of use transition. Um, so we'll focus on start transition, and I can tell you kind of how to back out into. We'll start with use transition, and then I can tell you how to back out.
okay.
Um, so let's make a button first. So we're gonna have a button, and this button's gonna get kind of nutty, but we're gonna have let's see. Actually, I think this is why I have it kind of like so bizarrely composed. Um, so let's put that button inside of the open up the Pokemon detail, and we're gonna do a render prop there.
Oh.
Now, the reason we are doing that in this particular case is because we need Pokemon detail to read the resource.
Wait.
To remember, we're past.
Remind me how to do a render prop. I'm
Yeah,
blanking.
no problem.
I don't do that much these days.
No, no. So inside the children, so you're
Okay.
gonna do curly braces, and then you're gonna give it an anonymous function,
Cool. Wasn't sure.
and then that is the body for all the stuff that we want to render, and then we'll actually take some arguments in that anonymous function. So first of those is going to be the first argument, which we can call whatever, but I'm going to call this resolved Pokemon. So remember when we call Pokemon detail, we're calling it with a suspensified Pokemon promise. And then we're calling inside of the component read on that.
Say that one more time.
Yeah. So in our Pokemon detail, we're passing in this kind of initial Pokemon uh, construct here, right? Which is not a Pokemon yet. It's a
It's a
promise for a
promise.
Pokemon that we've wrapped in a suspense, like a suspense
Yeah.
utility function
Right.
that has a read function on it, and it's going to continue to call that read function until there's a resolution.
Got it. Okay.
And so the reason that we have to kind of like do this funkiness right here, where we're using a render prop in order to like add this button, is that we need the resolved Pokemon in order to kind of like, do this thing that we're gonna do.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
I'm getting it, chat. Feel free to ask any question
I
if
know
you're
it's like
not getting it. Thank you for the follow, Windward Hive and Viable. I will get to your question in just a sec. Make sure I don't forget.
oh,
But
I saw
yes.
a stretch redemption a while ago,
Oh,
by the
was
way. I
that? Oh
think
man, I could use it. Let's see. Let's get a
creative
quick.
soapbox.
Get a quick. Here we go. Yeah. Thank you so much for that stretch redemption because I we've been feeling like tightness there, so appreciate it. I just got here, so I didn't get anything. Ben's making us
Oh,
hydrate. Love it.
hydrate. Oh, I have a little bit of tea left.
Perfect. Spill it. All right. So,
Okay,
uh,
so we have that. Um, yeah. And so now we're just gonna do some just absolute nonsense. And this is why you're gonna want like a library to do this.
okay.
Um, because I mean, it really is gonna just get chaotic like really fast. Um, so let's see. Okay, so we want to create a button that will actually fetch a new Pokemon and then like put that onto state. So right
Okay.
now we have let's see. So what does our state look like right now? So we haven't put this on state anywhere yet,
Right.
right?
Yeah, we're not using any
Okay,
state.
cool. Yeah, let's put our initial Pokemon on state.
Okay. So use state.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll do a let Pokemon or
Pokemon.
update Pokemon. What's your
Either way, yeah, I update said
verb?
yeah, however, yeah. Some verb that, communicates forwardness.
Yeah.
And then we'll put our initial Pokemon on that.
Okay.
Cool. And then, yeah, and so then now we need to change our resource to be Pokemon instead of initial Pokemon because we want to pull that off of state.
Cool.
So on line 18, that'll be Pokemon that we're using now.
Cool.
Okay, so now we have a means of actually like updating this Pokemon in response to this button. So we have this button there, and let's do a callback, or we'll do an on-click event. And we're gonna call update Pokemon.
We're gonna pass it something.
Yeah, we're gonna pass it a suspensify call with a fetch for another Pokemon. You can just pick a number at this point, but we would also hold that on state probably.
Let's do math.floor dot random function times 251. Right, that should plus 1. Think
Perfect.
that'll give us between 1 and 251.
Okay.
Maybe, I don't know. We'll see if that works.
Who knows?
I could ask our good friend Copilot, but he's just he's too much sometimes. Twisnia. Twas the night before Christmas, and thank you for following Twisnia. I really appreciate it. Yeah, thank you so much. Sorry for butchering your name. Okay, so I'm a button. Shall we click?
Yeah. Oh, we lost our Pokemon though.
We
What
did.
happened? I wonder if that's because of my render function. Do you mind going to
Seems
the
like
Pokemon detail render function and seeing if we need to what do we have here? So there's okay, yeah, so I'm doing an or oh, we need to log out stats. So let's so stats is another thing that I pass along in the render function, the fully like rendered stats. So let's
Okay.
go back to apps and then just take that as a prop. So the second is just going to be lowercase stats.
Here, stats.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you can just spit that out like somewhere else inside of render. So maybe put like a fragment or a div around the button.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
So I actually need to render it.
Yep, just like that. Yeah.
Cool.
And then just in curly's do stats.
Got it. That makes more sense. Okay, Dratini. It
Okay,
seems my
cool.
random thing is working, Mr. Mime, but we lost our button now.
Yeah, where'd the button go? That's so weird. Go back real quick. To stats. So it's spitting out the stats.
Yeah, you're right.
So stats are coming through. Oh wait, did we screw up our render function?
We might have.
It looks like it's just
return. It's wrapping the whole thing. No, it looks good.
Wonder if it doesn't like that it's a fragment. Maybe try.
So I removed stats and it's still coming out. I don't know.
We did something super weird. I think it might not like the fragment.
It's
what the heck?
No, I mean I got rid of stats, but we're still getting stats. Children, is it rendering children?
So this is the Pokemon list.
Thank
you want to
you.
go to the Pokemon detail? Yeah.
Type of children equals function.
If it's a function, it should call that function with the resolved Pokemon and then a pre-rendered component with stats in it, which is defined below.
Is it rendering this out? Return. Yeah, we're returning. So it should be there. Console.
I'm just confused as to why we're seeing this specific result. That's really like blowing my mind.
Resolve Pokemon stats. I don't know. Resolve Pokemon. Let's just get rid of that bracket. Nope, not that one. That one? No, am I deleting the wrong stuff?
That one needs to be a paren now. Yeah.
I don't know. Does chat say it? Change li to ul. I changed the thing and it broke my other thing. Yeah, right. I don't know. This is weird. Because it's getting a function. It's logging that out.
Yeah.
Arguments, call, or resolve Pokemon.
I wonder if it's something else. Let's look at the button real quick. So we have an on click. It's an anonymous function.
But I mean, when it's clicked,
it's gonna call update Pokemon. It's not the
button. Because I can remove the button and I don't see face in the DOM.
This is odd. Can we restart it real quick? I don't know.
Yeah. Then I think I will have to hop off. I know it's just in a minute because I still need to get some stuff ready.
No. I mean, we went so much further than we expected to.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
But blame Windows. Yeah, it's this Windows thing that I'm using.
Windows.
Windows 10. More like Windows 0. Got 'em. No. Yeah, okay, so it's got to be in Pokemon detail. Console log children. Comma.
Log the type of children. Because it should be enacting that if we
object.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So we're just passing the wrong thing, it looks like. So let's go back.
Do I need a double bracket?
Oh, wait.
No, that would be for an object. I don't know why.
Yes. I don't know. This is really bizarre. I'm not really sure why, because it should be. That's like what I have in my demo. So this is really kind of like bewildering to me. Why type of children is an object?
Children's not a function.
If it's an object, call it like a function.
Yeah, please. I just want to get it to work. Yeah, so what am I doing wrong with this render prop? Is that or not render? Yeah, render prop.
Wait, do we have anything? Are there any siblings of this? Have we added a sibling on accident?
Yep, we have console logs here for some reason.
Oh yeah. So
That might be it.
that yeah, maybe those accidentally got inserted in
I
there.
tried to
And
put them in there, but they must have. There we
there we go.
go.
Okay, cool. So it was
Okay,
just some extraneous code
got
that
it.
got
So,
inserted.
all right, so we need resolve Pokemon. Got it. Sorry about that.
No, we're good. I was so confused. I was like, I don't
Yeah,
see
that was
anything
very
in there that
confusing.
shouldn't. And so there we just need to do stats. Yeah. So, uh, yeah.
Resolve.
Don't
Resolve
we don't
Pokemon
need
dot
the
name.
no, we don't need that. We can just do stats. Stats has
Oh,
all of it in
okay.
there. Yeah.
Oh, got it. Okay. Cool. I assumed resolve Pokemon. Nice. Persian. Rapidash. Awesome.
Sweet. Look at
Okay.
this. Cool.
For it. That's not one. That's not one of the 250. Get out of here.
Fortress.
No. How did did my code break? Oh, it's 150. I forgot how many were in the original things. I didn't want the second game. All right, there we go. Fetch Pokemon, Weedle. There we go. We're back to the original 151. Phew, that
Cool.
was close. All right.
So now, before you go, I just want to
Yeah.
do insert one thing, because once you learn start transition, it kind of like feeds into use transition, which feeds into deferred value, use deferred value. So let's in our click handler, we're going to do one more thing. We're going to wrap our in our on click anonymous function that we return, just outside of update Pokemon, we want to wrap that in a start transition.
Oh, cool. All right, so
So we're gonna wrap it one more time. And again, this is where like libraries are gonna handle all of this. So this is
okay.
really just like information.
Is that
And then
from
this is gonna
React?
have, yeah, it's from React. And so start transaction actually needs to take an anonymous function or
Cool.
take a function. So we're gonna insert another function right there. Yep, just like that. Perfect, good to go. And what we should see, if I'm not mistaken, is that this should hold on to the previous rendering of this while it gets the next
Cool.
one.
Oh,
So
nice.
yeah, so instead of doing the kind of thing where it just disappears, breaks the layout while it's like loading, and
Right.
then loads the next one in, it puts you in this transitional state where like the old thing stays around while it's trying to resolve the next thing. Now you might be saying like, well, I need some kind of feedback that something's happening, and so that is where use transition comes into play. So we have the start transition function. But then if we, we can use the use transition hook, which actually provides us an is pending value. And so then we can use that to like, fully style it. Do you have like a minute,
Yeah.
or do you want to sign off?
We got
We can sign off.
1 minute. Yeah, let's do the
Okay,
minute.
let's go. Okay. So what do? We used React transition or start transition? Oh,
Yep.
do we import? Did
I
that
did.
auto import? Oh,
No.
you import. Okay,
I yeah.
cool. Let's change that real quick then. And so we're gonna keep start transition, but instead of using let's stop importing it from above, and there we're gonna use import use transition.
Uh
Oh, sorry.
from the same thing?
So yeah. And use transition
Doesn't
is
have it.
just a really
Use. Yeah.
weird. Okay, cool. Well, I guess it's not there. Just start transition.
Okay. Start transition it is.
That's so funny because
Wait. Okay, it
my
doesn't seem to have start transition either, but that worked. So maybe use
yeah.
transition
Let's
is.
try it
Give it
real
a
quick,
shot.
because in the backup example that I made sure worked, it is using use transition.
Okay.
And so yeah, so we're going to keep start transition the same, and then above our return we're going to destructure off of use transition. So it's going to be an array, so it's a tuple like the other one. Now the first argument is actually the pending boolean, which will indicate if we're in a pending state or not.
Okay.
So you can pull this off as is pending or whatever you want to call it. And then we'll do at the end of this equals use transition. Cool, perfect.
Cool.
Now we can wrap the what is it? So our div right there with our stat. So like that whole div that we have there. What if we just do something like set the opacity of that whole div to something like 0.5 in like styles, based on the is pending. So we'll do like Yeah, opacity 5. And then we'll zoom. Yeah, perfect. This is a better way to do it than the way I do it. I always do like if it's pending, I'll pass in a style object. Otherwise, it'll be null. So I like this. This is
Got it.
nicer.
Yeah, I mean, you could definitely nice. I see. That's cool.
Yeah. So it's like so these are the types of things that like React 18, and these are these concurrent features that we're talking about that really get unlocked that you can use to provide like really nice I think nice user experiences based on kind of like
Yeah.
either slow network or slow like compute. You can kind of have full like really nice control over keeping the UI responsive and non-jittery
Yeah.
through this type of experience. So
Oh,
yeah.
this is so nice. So many things here, like catching errors, having different parts load in and just handle themselves. Yeah, so much about this is fantastic. I'm very, very excited for this to, as as think it was Viable Clan member said how like heard about it in 1987. Yeah, like I've been looking forward to this for a while.
A long time.
I'm very excited to be able to use it in all of our apps and all of our sites. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Viable actually had a question. Where can you specify the timeout to show a spinner if request takes more than some time?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know if that API still exists. I know
Hmm.
that had a lot of not love for it. So I don't know if that is going to be in the end result. I know in the past it was in use transition, you would give it an object and you could set a property. It was like timeout ms or something like that, and you would
Okay.
set the milliseconds. I don't know if it's actually going to be there.
Cool.
Because it was kind of a weird API. So I think it's possible that it's not there.
Got it.
Um, but worth a check out if you. I mean, you'd probably have to go source spelunking right now because I know all the experimental docs are out of date, as we saw with the suspense list stuff. So yeah, that kind of
Cool.
wraps that up.
Yeah. Dude, thank you so much for showing us all of that. React
Yeah,
18, Suspense, we covered it all. Fantastic, big episode. Really appreciate you sticking with us for this.
yeah.
And I'm gonna see you next Friday, right here.
Next Friday. That's right. I'm gonna be back, and I'm gonna
I'm,
bring my bag.
yep,
Where is it? This guy.
so excited, so excited. So for anyone who might have just dropped in or wasn't listening earlier, and that's fine. We've got a phenomenal holiday show that I would love, love, love for you to not only be here for and to donate to, but for you to sign up at that link just so that your name gets added to the thing. Your email will not be spammed or anything, I promise. I just am trying to get sponsors, big sponsors, to help us reach our $10,000 goal for Team C's. They will be matching your donations. So the more sponsors we get, the more people that are involved, the easier this all is and the more impact that we can have. So yeah, Anthony, totally agree. Fantastic lineup. Michael, so glad that you could join us today, and really, really appreciate you joining us on Friday and helping out
Yeah.
with this. So yeah, so this is the thing, chat. If you're not following already, we are at 1,692 followers. If there's 8 people out there, it'd be super cool to get to 17 even by the end, but by the next minute, I guess. But so if you're not following, go ahead and follow. And we've got a fantastic show next Friday. And frontend.horse/shows. There it is. We've got 2 great shows next week before the holiday spectacular. Christopher Nandy, fantastic JavaScript developer, is coming on to do a really cool one where we're building a JavaScript library from scratch. He's got a great concept around building something kind of from the ground up. That we start simple, layer in a bunch of features, and kind of just build our own thing. He's phenomenal with vanilla JavaScript. So I'm so excited for that episode. And then Thursday, we're learning Theater.js, this fantastic new animation web-based platform that allows us to basically use After Effects like knobs and things to animate pretty much anything. Arya is a fantastic guy. I'm very excited to have him on. And then Friday, we've got the show. So it's all happening, people. And it's all happening here. So you should be here. You should follow and come back lots. And it's super fun. I plugged stuff. Michael, would you like to plug anything?
Oh gosh. Let's see. Do I want to plug anything? Okay, so I think the biggest thing right now is React.Holiday. This year is focused specifically on React 18, and now that we have a release candidate, really the goal of this course is to introduce you to all the. I mean, honestly, a lot of the stuff that we talked about today, but in more detail, and then just dripped to your email. So if you
Lots
weren't
of
able to
drip.
catch everything today, so much drip.
Yeah.
If you weren't able to catch everything today, you can get these. They're just going to come, every day. They're going to come to your email, and then in 2022, when they're looking for people who can, lead the charge on the React 18 RC migration, like you are going to know everything you need to know. So that's the goal that I have for that. That's what I'm focusing all my attention on right now. And then I guess 2 other plugs. If you want to follow me on Twitter, I'm kind of focused on this stuff a lot. I talk about React 18 now. I make terrible jokes. There's some really cool there's a picture of me right there with my daughter made, which is awesome.
Really?
Right in media, the first one, it's me. I'm Princess Sassy
Oh, got
Pants.
it.
Yeah,
Okay.
so
That
really,
that checks out more. I'm like, wow, she seemed young. I'm impressed at her Photoshop skills. Got it. Thank you, Indifferent Ghost, for that follow. Really appreciate it.
And then let's see, what was the last there was one more thing. Oh, our Discord server. So so I mean, obviously, like, you have a fantastic community. If you're the type of person who wants to be in multiple communities,
And you should.
with a lot of really great folks, we share some really amazing people in our discords. So this is discord.gg/lunchdev, and we do events there as well. And so hang out. If you just can't get enough events
Thank you,
and
Ben.
streams and all that kind of stuff, that's where we hang out.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
So yeah,
Wonderful place. I love the overlap between communities, and Ben is kind of like the
totally.
physical embodiment of that overlap. Just delightfulness in human form. We appreciate you,
Yeah,
Ben.
thousand
Awesome.
percent.
Awesome. Well, I have to catch a plane. This
Yeah.
was fantastic, Michael. I really appreciate it. We are going to actually find somebody to raid. So chat, hang in
do it.
there. It's not done yet. We're going to go find White Panthers is streaming. So we're gonna go head over to her.
Lucky
She's
us.
fantastic, right? So thank you, Ben. Ben's right on it. So we're gonna raid her, and you're gonna love it there. You're gonna be safe. Don't worry. I'm gonna drop you off. It'll be great. Michael, thank you again. Really appreciate
Always a pleasure.
you hanging out with us. All right, everyone, take
Yeah,
care,
yeah.
and we will see you on Tuesday. Bye, everybody.
Bye, friends.
Bye.